And welcome to the Township of Whitewater Region's regular council meeting for Wednesday, April 15th. We're going to call ourselves to order here at 1:06 p.m. And I apologize, that's my fault for the delayed start. Had a commitment over lunch that extended. And with that, we'll move on to the second item on the agenda, which is our national anthem. If I could get you to stand, please, and face the flag at the back. It's unfortunate, but during the national anthem on our video screens, we're playing these beautiful pictures of Whitewater Region. But everybody in the audience has to turn around and look at the flag. So you're missing these beautiful pictures that remind us of just how incredible Whitewater Region is. So, oh, yeah, that's right. We'll find another alternative there. Good. And with that, I am going to surprise one of the members of council with the land acknowledgement. It's going to be Councillor Bell, if he has it in his drawer. Thank you.
As we gather, we would like to acknowledge on behalf of the Township of Whitewater Region and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of Indigenous people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years.
Thank you. Perfect. Next, we have the adoption of the agenda. The recommendation is the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve the April 15th, 2026 agenda. A mover and a seconder, please. Moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Trim. Anyone wish to make any proposed changes? And yes, our clerk.
Yeah, just going to note that item 7.1, Mr. Pine had to cancel, so he will not be making presentation. So 7.1 will be moved to a future council agenda. Thanks.
Excellent. So noted. 7.1 is postponed to tabled without a date. Good. Any other changes? I see none. We'll call for a vote. All those in favor? And it's unanimous. Thank you. Next is the adoption of some minutes. The recommendation is that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve the regular council meetings of April 1st and the closed session minutes of February 18th, March 4th, and April 1st, 2026, understanding that they remain confidential. A mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor White, seconded by Councillor Moore. Is there any errors or omissions that anyone's noted in the minutes that they'd like to raise? Noting that any of the content of the closed minutes we'd have to move into closed in order to discuss. I don't see any, and I'll just highlight there was one point on the closed about participation. Has that been updated?
Yeah, I'll update it.
Perfect. Good. There was one secretarial amendment to a closed session that was just had to do with participation, who was here and who wasn't, and that'll be updated. Good. And with that, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor? And it is unanimous. Section 5 is committees and boards. I remind the public that this is an opportunity where we see minutes provided from other committees and boards in the community, where it becomes a public record and council can remain aware of what's going on, but we have none of those this week. Item number 6 is disclosure by members of council. Does anybody need to disclose on an item that we're going to be hearing about today? I see none. And that moves us directly into our presentations. 7.1 has been postponed, so we're jumping to 7.2. This will be a presentation on the local solutions for local economies. Mrs. Sydney Phillips, if you want to come to the mic. Are we doing an intro?
Yeah, so I'll just do a brief introduction with respect to Cindy. So Cindy Phillips is the Executive Director with the Renfrew County Community Futures. So she's responsible for the strategic management of the organization, partner development, and community economic development services. So she's with us today to provide sort of a summary on 2026 activities, together with the annual report was also attached to the agenda. To you, Cindy, thanks so much. And I will share your PowerPoint presentation in a second. Thank you.
Great, thanks so much. Good afternoon, Mayor Nicholson, members of council. Thank you very much for allowing me to join you this afternoon. Really, the purpose of my visit is just to give a brief overview of who we are and what we do. It's all too often said that we are one of Renfrew County's best kept secrets, and so our hope is to change that. You know, our hope or our ask really is that after today's presentation that you all go away and become ambassadors of our program and share our services with members of your community. So with that, I will get started. Okay, so just a little bit about the program. The Community Futures program is funded by the Government of Canada through the regional development agencies. So for us, we fall under the Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario. We are part of a network of 60 offices in Ontario and 267 across Canada. Each office is its own individually incorporated not-for-profit, and Renfrew County Community Futures has been serving Renfrew County for 40 years. We just had our 40-year anniversary at the end of March, so quite some time. Next slide, please. The Community Futures program is designed to support businesses, community-based development, and employment by really focusing on 3 main objectives. Those being to support community development projects, to maintain a sustainable loan program, and to offer business counseling, workshop, and seminars to our businesses. Next slide. So I'll start with probably what is one of our biggest mandates, and that is small business financing. And I like to start by saying that our clients are always encouraged to seek traditional sources of financing first and foremost, so the traditional banks, if you will. But I think it's fair to say that we all know it's, you know, sometimes it's not available, or it's not a right fit, or it just won't meet the needs that a client might have. So that's where Community Futures can come in to help really finance any viable business venture. We are not sector specific. We pretty much consider anything that could look like equipment acquisitions, startup, expansion, even working capital for businesses. We currently are allowed to loan up to $300,000, and all of our terms are governed by our agreement with the federal government. But I will share with you, it's not formally announced yet, but we have just signed a memorandum of understanding Canada-wide with the Business Development Bank of Canada, where we will soon be able to loan up to $500,000 through a loan partnership agreement. So I encourage you to watch for a formal announcement on that. I know I just signed the formal documents yesterday, so it will happen soon. Just in terms of our impact by the numbers since inception 40 years ago, we have distributed over $50 million in loans in Renfrew County, and those loans have leveraged an additional $43 million in investments by our businesses and have impacted, we're now approaching 6,000 jobs. So those are local jobs in our local communities. Next slide, please. So a little bit in terms of what makes us different than going to a traditional bank. I think first and foremost, the biggest difference is that our decisions aren't made in a head office in Toronto somewhere. They're all made locally. We are governed by a local board of directors, all volunteers with various skill sets and backgrounds, all coming from our local communities. I will say that, after a transaction, all the aftercare is also done locally here by our small team. We don't, it's not like we approve you and then we never talk to you again. We pride ourselves on having very close working relationships with all of our clients. We know the local economies in which we work and the impact that our decisions have on those communities. We're able to offer tailor-made solutions when specific challenges arise. We can be very flexible in terms of repayment terms that suit a business's cash flow or seasonality. We can accept more flexible loan guarantees or securities. And our applications are assessed on a bunch of criteria, not necessarily just the numbers. We do consider the impact that a decision will have on the local economy. We take employment into consideration, and also just the overall business climate in a community, and those are just to name a few. I mentioned tailor-made products, and we've been fortunate to be able to offer several of those. One of them being a community improvement plan matching loan, and I will maybe just share a little bit that we have just in the last few weeks increased our maximum amount from $10,000 to $20,000. And so how that program works is if you are a community that has a CIP plan in place, we can come in with a matching loan for a business if they don't necessarily have the cash flow to put up their 50% matching to a grant. And I will mention also, I think it's worth mentioning, that the county now has their HYPE program as well for community improvement plan programs. So they will match or marry up with the grant portion, and Community Futures can come in to help the business owner come up with their portion of that loan. So that's kind of how that works. Other examples of some specific programming that we've put in place, we have certainly done flood relief loans. We have done, we just ended a can trade program. So that was to help businesses that were really feeling the crunch because of the tariff situation happening. We have a Starter Company Plus matching loan for people that have received grants through the Starter Company Plus program, which is run by our good partners at Enterprise Renfrew County. So just to name a few, like if we see a need in our communities, we have the flexibility to put something together that is going to address that need. Next slide, please. Community economic development is our second really core pillar. So we work alongside many community partners to help with community development, and those could be community economic development plans. We support value-added projects. We give assistance if a municipality or a business is looking to expand into new sectors. And what we can bring to the table is a big picture view of the health of our businesses. We have participated in business retention and expansion projects. We have worked with municipalities and other organizations on strategic planning initiatives. Some of the examples of maybe the more well-known projects that we have been involved in: the Ottawa River Heritage Designation, we were very involved in that. Selling Food in Ontario, various Enterprise Renfrew County events, just to name a few. Next slide, please. So our third pillar is business counseling and support. We are a small team. We are only 4 people, each experts in our own rights and in our own areas. So we do offer in-depth counseling to clients and a tailored support. We work with many of our partners to offer trainings, workshops, seminars. And at the end of the day, if there's a question that we don't have the answer to, we will find the answer. We can turn to our partners and we will get the assistance that someone is seeking. One example of some of the support services that we offer, we recently held a very successful funders forum We held it in the town of Renfrew. We brought together 13 funding agencies, provincial, federal, and non-governmental agencies, and we had 100 people register for that Funders Forum event, which was a huge success. Next slide, please. So we do serve all of Renfrew County. We now have one main location in the city of Pembroke, in the Pembroke Business Center, but we are happy to come to you, to our clients, to anyone that wants to meet with us. I would strongly encourage you to sign up for our newsletter, because that is the place where we post news about new programming, events that we have coming up, and we share information from our partners and other networks as well. So that's it in a nutshell, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much for that.
You are
And with
welcome.
that, I'll open it up to council. Is there any questions or comments from council? Good, none yet. Now, I did ask the CAO to see if he could give us an example of a SIP that would, that would be advantageous to what you're offering. If he could maybe speak to a possible example?
Yeah, so I think just to sort of combine the three organizations being Community Futures, the County of Renfrew, and our local Community Improvement Plan program. So in the case where a business was looking to make some improvements to the facade of their building, we have a program where they can get 50% of the cost covered by our township. The county's HYPE program would allow for some additional funds to be contributed towards the project. And if the business owner or the proponent could not pay their portion, then they could go see Community Futures to get a loan, if I'm tracking correctly, for their portion of the fund. So they could immediately get the upgrade and then slowly pay back the loan for their portion of the cost. So some of it would be covered by a grant, the other portion would be covered by a loan. Thanks.
Good, clear?
That's correct, exactly that. So, you know, if a business, maybe they have the money, but it will have a negative impact on their cash flow, where they just don't want to tap into that for whatever reason, we're there to step in with advantageous terms, a lower interest rate than we would normally offer, simplified process, et cetera. Maybe I will take 1 second to mention something that is in the annual report from last year, but that I didn't speak to today, and that is our Community Development Fund grant. That grant, which we were able to offer 2 years in a row, we haven't been able to announce it yet for this year because our funding contribution for this fiscal isn't yet confirmed by the federal government, and it is entirely dependent on that. But I will say that we are really hoping that we are going to be able to offer that again this year. So that is a grant program open specifically to municipalities, BIAs, and nonprofits. So I would encourage you to just keep an eye out or an ear out, and if and when it does get approved and it is a go, we will be reaching out to all the municipalities directly to let you know that.
That's perfect. Councillor Olmsted.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks for the presentation. Question on the partnership with BDC. Up to the $500,000. So is that all administered through you guys now? For instance, anything under $500,000, they don't go to BDC anymore?
They could. It's not a replacement for what the BDC does. This is sort of, I'm going to choose my words carefully. It's another tool for us in our local communities to be able to lend at higher limits, because right now we are capped at that 300,000, and which is technically supposed to be in exceptional circumstances. But I can share with you that trend-wise, we have seen higher and higher loan request amounts. I actually, you know, in terms of authority levels, anything above 150, I have to bring to my full board. Anything below that goes to our investment committee. And in the past 18 months, I've only had to convene our investment committee once because all the loans have been above that threshold. The partnership with the BDC, all the loans still remain with us. We own the loans, and essentially how it works is they will purchase half of the loan from us, but everything is still administered at the local level, decisions at the local level. So customer facing, there's no difference.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, an excellent opportunity. Like it increases your limit and the client really doesn't have to go to two different parties.
Exactly. The client doesn't have to go through two different parties. The client isn't dealing with the huge organization that is the BDC. They're still dealing with, the local office, the local people, the local decision makers.
Yeah.
So it's a great opportunity for us.
Any other questions? I have two that I'll pop at her if you guys don't have any. Good. First one is just small business. How do you define a small business? So we can, in a Whitewater context, we're trying to imagine what becomes a medium business. Where does that line typically get drawn?
How shall I answer this? I don't have a clear definition that I would instruct my team on in terms of defining. Generally speaking, what we consider a small or medium business here in Renfrew County is really like a nano micro business to other lenders or other partners. But it's not really a consideration in what we do. Like if a company employs 600 people and they come to us, we don't turn them away. And likewise, if you're a sole proprietor, we treat you just the same.
Yeah, that's perfect. So it doesn't exclude anyone.
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
No.
good. The next one is just back to that SIP example that the CAO mentioned. I understand that when you're engaging with businesses and they're approaching you for opportunities, how do we make sure that if there is an expansion to a SIP program that we don't have, but may be applicable to that business, you might be hearing about it before we would. How do we make sure that that information is coming back to us for consideration to expand our SIP program, to include other kind of ways to invest in businesses?
Sure, that's a great question, and I will be fully transparent. We actually haven't done a SIP loan yet. I think, when we first, polled and when I spoke with be it CAOs or ECDEV officers in the municipalities, when we were first fleshing this out, one of the hopes would be that there would be an uptick in applications through the SIP programs in municipalities. From speaking with some of my colleagues in the municipalities, I think there's maybe a renewed interest, and so we're hoping that, we will see an uptick in applications, but certainly through constant dialogue with the municipalities or with colleagues, if a gap or a specific need is identified, happy to share that knowledge out.
Yeah.
For example, the recent increase that we just made, that was in response and at the request of the city of Pembroke, which just recently increased their grant limits in certain categories to 20,000. So they asked if we would be willing to increase our matching loan portion, and it made sense. There was no reason not to. So again, that flexibility and that ability to react very quickly to requests. Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. Good. Good.
If you'll allow me, just the programs that are funded through the loan, is it specific CIP programs that are available by the county or any municipality? So our strategy is to look at our CIP and maybe develop new programs. Would they just automatically apply because they're part of a community improvement plan? Yeah.
Yes, and that's really the caveat to the loan, and it has to be for a CIP approved program matching an approved CIP grant. Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. And I think that communication back and forth, if you identify a need, it can shape our policy, and council could consider it as a potential expansion or change to the CIP.
Yeah.
To invest in our community. Good. Any final questions from any members of council? If not, I will just say, Ms. Phillip, thank you so much for your time today and everything you're doing for our businesses. I know that is well appreciated by the businesses I've spoken to, and thank you.
Good. Well, thank you for having me. I wish you a good rest of your meeting.
Thank you. Good, and with that, we're going to move to 7.3. 7.3 is a presentation on the Renfrew County Roads Supervisors Association, their 2026 AORS and you're gonna have to remind me what that stands for, trade show. And have we got someone doing the intro? Yes, manager or director of public works, please.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, we have Chris Mantha, Director of Public Works for the town of Petawawa, and also the president of the local Arrows, Renfrew County Road Supers Association, and what he attending today for the trade show, and I'll leave it to Chris to speak about it.
Excellent. Thank you, Mayor Nicholson, members of council. It's a pleasure to be here today with some great news to share with your council. Also with me today is Trevor Woodkey. He serves on the Renfrew County Road Supers Association as our treasurer and is also very well involved with our trade show announcement. I also serve as a member of the board of directors for the Association of Ontario Road Supervisors, which is the parent organization to the local associations. So with that, we'll start the slideshow. Perfect. Okay, so the Renfrew County Road Supervisors Association is pleased to announce, and I'm sure most of you know, that we have been selected to host the 2026 Annual Association of Ontario Road Supervisors Municipal Trade Show, and partners with the Renfrew County Road Supervisors Association in this prestigious event are the County of Renfrew and the Town of Petawawa. So, with that, the Renfrew County Road Supers Association was started in 1980. As you can see on the slide, the association is comprised of all the municipalities within the County of Renfrew. We also have representation from the Algonquins of Pikwakanagan, the City of Ottawa, Canadian Nuclear Laboratories, and Garrison Petawawa. So it's a great group. I'm proud to be the president of the association, and it's fantastic to represent all the wonderful communities that make up our beautiful county. With that, the Association of Ontario Road Supervisors represents 34 local associations across Ontario with 2,000 members, and the annual municipal trade show showcases the products, services, materials, and technologies used in the public works industry. It is considered to be one of the largest shows of its kind in Canada. Typically draws more than 2,000 attendees and over 200 exhibitors. So the show is coming up. It's on June 3rd and 4th, and on June 2nd is the Ross Mackenzie Golf Tournament. And the show really is all about public works. The industry is changing rapidly, as I'm sure Mr. Cleary would be well versed in that. There's a lot of new technologies. So it's a great opportunity for public and private sector employees to share information, network with their colleagues from across the county and indeed across the province, share information, technical developments and materials and services and equipment required to build and maintain our communities. That's really what it's all about. It's a fantastic show to get up to speed on everything new in public works and take it back to our communities so that we can do a better job of maintaining our infrastructure and indeed giving a good level of service to our taxpayers. It also allows our suppliers of municipal equipment and services to display their products and develop new business relationships. So the show has been previously held in Renfrew County in 1992 at the Petawawa Civic Center and more recently in 2014 at the Nick Smith Center in Arnprior. So how did we come to this great announcement? So it's been a long run. It started in December of 2023 when my compatriot here, Trevor Woodkey, filled out an expression of interest, and we were quite busy at work, and I thought, well, it's great that you're filling that out, but we probably won't get it. But regardless, we were successful, and we found that out in August of 2024 when the AOR's Board of Directors approved the Renfrew County Road Supervisors application and awarded the 2026 trade show to the Renfrew County Group. So the chronology has moved along since then, setting up an executive. We had our initial executive meetings in early 2025. We set up advertising and promotional programs. And then in February 2025, Steve Boland, who I'm sure some of you know, is a fine representative of Public Works who served many years at the County of Renfrew. He is our trade show ambassador. He would have been here today, but he's busy with Shaw Woods, so I'm the sub in for Steve. But we're proud to have him. He's a fantastic ambassador for our show. Carrying on, we secured the Pembroke Shores Golf Course for the annual Ross Mackenzie Golf Tournament. I provided copies of our trade show brochure, which we finalized in May of 2025. And then in June of 2025, probably something I'm very proud of was our group from the Renfrew County Road Supervisors Association attended the show in Woodstock, Ontario in 2025, and just did a fantastic job of promoting our show right here in Renfrew County. And you'll see shortly with the results in our booth sales. So we continue to promote and organize the show right up until today. So next slide is just some key personnel. We've added a lot of people to our committee since then, and we've had a lot of great support from right across the county, which is fantastic. So why was Petawawa chosen? It's been chosen a couple times now, and for many reasons. First off, it has good access to the highway. So for the suppliers who are coming up with big equipment and transports, it's handy for them to access the site at the Civic Center. We also have good accommodations, hotels in Pembroke, Laurentian Valley, Petawawa, and indeed throughout the area. So we have good accommodations, restaurants for all the attendees at the show. And of course, we needed a quality 18-hole golf course. That was paramount, and we have that in Laurentian Valley at Pembroke Shores. And we also had to have Wi-Fi and hydro, an ice pad, sufficient space for all the booths, demonstration areas, and lots of parking. So that's how it came to be held in Petawawa. The next two slides simply show the booth layouts for the indoor and the outdoor portions of the show. JP2G Engineering Consultants did the layouts for us at no charge, which was fantastic. And here's the good news to share with everybody. The red is all sold. So we've been sold out now for about a month, for quite some time. In fact, we've actually added, I believe, 12 extra outdoor booths. So we're really positioned for a great show. So who's coming? The exhibitor profile. Anything and everything to do with public works, roads, bridges, building maintenance, communication, surveying, engineering, emergency disaster management, flooding, which is probably on everyone's mind right now, GIS, GPS systems, internet technologies, parks and grounds, wastewater collection and treatment of water, traffic and pedestrian control. It truly is exactly a dream show for anybody who loves public works and infrastructure like myself. You wouldn't want to miss it. And then the visitor profile, again, approximately 2,000 people visit the show every year. I really hope we can eclipse that. I think we will. But the show is open to the public. It's no charge. Certainly encourage all the elected officials here to attend. But everybody will be there, directors, managers, operations personnel, operators, fleet managers, waste people who are in the waste collection industry, water, aqua would be a good example, water and wastewater divisions. That's, and transportation directors and managers. And I mentioned free of charge. And we're also hoping that a lot of high school students come, which we do have some great feedback on that. We certainly need more young people in the public works field, so we want to encourage local high schools to come to the show and see what public works is all about. It truly is a great profession. I've been blessed to be in it for over 20 years now, so we need more young people. So opportunities. Yes, we want visitors to come. I think Mayor Nicholson hit a nice topic right off the start when he mentioned the O Canada slideshow and all the beautiful things we have to offer in Whitewater region and indeed in the county. I've lived in Pembroke area since 1986, raising my family here. We truly are blessed here in Renfrew County. So we're really pleased to have the show. invite people here, come early, stay late, and see exactly what we have to offer right here in Renfrew County. We got a great area, and we have a lot to offer, and all the unique communities that make up Renfrew County. It's truly special. So we want to showcase, promote the amenities and attributes that contribute to the enhanced quality of life that we have here in the county. And we certainly want to have staff involvement. These shows are typically held down in the southern portions of Ontario where the bigger population centers are. So for us to host the trade show here in Renfrew County, it's a great opportunity for all the members to get out and get to the show because gas prices are really high right now, accommodations are high. So hosting it right here in Renfrew County, all the staff can get to it within a day's drive, take in the show, get back to their communities and continue their work. So it's efficient and we're lucky to be hosting. Educational opportunities for staff to network, view and discuss opportunities for enhancing the work of public works agencies, promotion of municipal amenities, and business and tourism opportunities. And of course, we're hosting on June 2nd, the annual Ross Mackenzie Golf Tournament. Trevor informed me just before I got up that there are a few teams left. I believe Lane is going to book a team, so hopefully we'll see some of you fine folks out on the golf course on June 2nd, the day before the trade show. It's kind of a kickoff to the show. So next steps, doing just what we are doing today. We still have a few municipal presentations to complete. I believe I have one more this week, one next week, another one in early May. I think we've hit 15 of the municipalities within Renfrew County. So we've really been working hard to promote the show and encourage involvement of municipal staff. Not looking for any money, which is always great news when you're a delegation. All we're asking for is support for the show, attending and certainly promoting to allow your municipal staff to attend and take in the show and learn and get all the benefits of having such a great show coming to our area. So that's our requested support. Allow volunteers to help out. Trevor's working on, I believe an email is going out, or it went out? No, later today. An email is going out to request some volunteer support for site logistics. I have no doubt we already have a lot of volunteer support offers. And I'm not concerned. Renfrew County is always great. The Renfrew County Road Supervisors Association is a very strong group. It's a grassroots group. And I know that we'll have a lot of volunteer support to ensure that the show is a huge success. The distribution of funds. So with any show, there's costs to cover the show and the suppliers coming up to attend. But there is a good amount of money that goes back into the community. So in 2014, there was over $55,000 raised from the trade show that was held in Arnprior. And we put that money back into the community, as you can see on this slide. We put money into bursaries at the high school level, and we've actually just recently changed the amount. We now do $500 for each bursary for every high school within the county every year. We certainly hope to continue that once we gain some of the funding from this new show. We also gave money to every hospital within Renfrew County, long-term care homes. We supported the Breakfast Club School Food for Learning program. We kept some money in the Renfrew County Road Supers Association Training Fund, and it's been put towards group training that's often held right here at the Agricultural Hall. I believe 2 years ago we had over 60 students attend the Book 7 traffic control training. So that training fund was used to offset the costs for each of the students attending, and we hope to do that again. And then there was a little bit of money that was left in the general fund, but certainly I can say that our committee is focused to do exactly the same thing with the funds available from this show. We want to put it back into the community. And that's essentially it. There's some contact information on the last page. I certainly want to thank the Township of Whitewater Region for allowing me to come here today to speak on behalf of the Renfrew County Road Supers Association and the trade show. It's going to be a fantastic show. We hope to see you all there in June, and I'm happy to take any questions if there are any. Thanks again.
Excellent. Thank you, Chris and Trevor, for coming here today. This is perfect. With that, we'll open it up to comments or questions from members of council. Councillor White?
Yes, do we have the hours of the trade show?
Perfect.
Yeah, but I think it opens up at 8 a.m.
I think it's 8 to,
3 p.m.
yeah. It's in the brochure, but Trevor thinks it's 8 to 3. But I think if it was 8 to 4, you'd be okay too.
Good, thank you. Any other questions from members of council? Yes, Councillor Moore.
Since how this is a municipal event, you're going to pay us mileage to go?
I'd encourage you to go back and look at our policy. Thank you. Any other things? Anything from staff? Any comments you want to make?
No, I just want to thank Chris and Trevor coming today. Thank you.
Good. With that, I know that you're encouraging them, encouraging people who are participating to be aware of what's available here during their off time. If they want to add time to the end or the start of the event. Have you had access to what Whitewater can offer? Have you had tourism information provided?
I don't believe we have. We can certainly reach out to your economic development office. I know the trail is a popular subject for the suppliers that are coming. There has been a lot of feedback on. I wonder if we could bring our ATVs and do some
yeah.
riding, and maybe stay a few days later for after the show to enjoy the off-road vehicle use, which is fantastic. I hope people do stay, and certainly I hope that some of the economic benefit can come this way as well. The suppliers are going to be coming from all over, so I would imagine there will be stops here in Whitewater region as well. For restaurants, Tim Hortons, of course, is at a convenient location, which I'll be visiting on the way out. But yeah, we hope that there's certainly an economic spin-off this way as well.
No, that's perfect. I mean, you talk about 300 or 400 hotel rooms. I think about, are those guys looking for some whitewater rafting? Do they want to come out and check out Splash Valley? If they can't get on that golf course, could they go on another one that's right here? We just want to make sure that they have that information at their fingertips when they arrive. Maybe I can get staff to connect offline.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
I just got the nod from Trevor. He'll reach out to your economic development staff.
We could share that with AORs as well. And
Yep.
if they want to be able to promote anything on the website, or we can maybe add some tourism points of interest. I was speaking with the vendor last year and told them about the whitewater rafting and said, there's a good team building event that you could do while you're up here. And the one vendor seemed quite interested. And was like, that's a pretty good idea. So
Yep.
just making them aware that, hey, this area has those kind of specialties and opportunities. So that's why our slogan's kind of been, come early, stay late.
Yep. Lots of great places to motorcycle too. I was
Yeah.
mentioning to one of the councillors before the presentation that I'm an avid motorcyclist. So I'm a big fan of Whitewater region. I love the Gore Line. It's a great road. I think that's the one with the lookout. Gore Line, yes.
Close to it, yeah.
Okay,
Close to it.
yeah. But yeah, I love the area, La Paz, Beachburg, Westmeath. It's all fantastic riding. So yeah, I hold this place pretty dear to me. So thank you.
Excellent. No, I think that's excellent. We really appreciate all the volunteer effort that would have went behind the scenes to bring something this significant back to Renfrew County. It not only gives us an opportunity to advertise what we have to offer to the greater world, but also in terms of professional development for our own employees, it's right here, right? They get a chance to put hands on, and hopefully we can use that to leverage improvements in our own infrastructure. This kind of opportunity, you don't get it every day, so thank you. Good. No other comments from council? Really appreciate you two making your time to come and see us today. Thank you so much. Excellent. Next item on the agenda, 7.4, and you'll note that it is a previously scheduled event that we'll do at 3 o'clock, and it's a recognition of our Volunteer Appreciation Awards. So we're going to skip over it for now, and jump into item number 8, which is the mayor's address, and I have a few comments that I was going to share with everyone today. So just as I had said, before I get into the meat of it, I just want to recognize that this is National Volunteer Week, and we're going to be doing some formal recognition at 3 p.m. to recognize residents for their volunteering. And, you know, we just can't say it enough times to say thank you to the volunteers. Since our last council meeting on April 1st, I attended 12 meetings and events on behalf of council. For county council, there was a county council meeting and 3 committee meetings. For the health unit, there was 1 committee meeting, and for the I had a number of meetings with respect to the forest sector strategy. So it was a busy 2 weeks. One of the events we hosted was here in our chambers, and it was a mock council meeting where we filled all of the chairs around the table with grade 6, 5, grade 5, thank you, grade 5 class from Cobden Public School. And it gave the students a scenario where some of them were playing counselors, some of them police chief, the fire chief, staff, CAO, and they had a script to go through debating with public input, debating whether or not to convert a parking lot into a playground. And really great opportunity for the students, not just to see how procedure happens in a council chambers, but to see how input is received and considered before a decision is made. In the end, they did decide to make the playground. As you can imagine, that was their priority. I just wanted to thank the staff who organized that. Of course, Cobden Public School, as well as Councillors Moore and White for making time to come and join us. We have offered the same to the other schools. If they're interested, we can travel there and do a similar event for their municipal exposure portion of their curriculum, and we're just waiting to hear back. I want to also highlight 3 of our Whitewater businesses this week. The Flock and Fleet is a business that just completed the Enterprise Renfrew County Starter Company program, something Sydney referred to in her presentation. They're a big proponent of that program. We also have Splash Valley, who was recognized as the 2026 Camp Spot Award winner nationwide as one of the top campgrounds in Canada for families. And Brittany has taken over ownership of the Beachburg Food Mart this past fall, and we're formally recognizing her today for that. You can find some more details in the correspondence portion of your agenda, where you can see the letters that we wrote to the 3 businesses to recognize them as a council. I also wanted to recognize a couple of really important service providers in our community. And first off, thanks to the staff for making sure that we have these important milestones noted. But the first is Public Safety Communication Week. That is happening next week. And it reminds us of the important role that our 911 operators play in supporting our residents in time of need. That's the person that you have when you call 911, and it's important to know that we thank them for the services they provide in that stressful situation. April 22nd is Administration Professionals Day, and we all know the important role that our administrators play in navigating government red tape and supporting the smooth operation of our township and interacting with our residents. So we thank you, and I believe we're going to do something on April 22nd to recognize our own administrators, CAO. April 28th is the National Day of Mourning, and it recognizes workers killed, injured, or made ill by their work. This has been recognized officially at the federal level since 1991, and this day allows for remembrance and a renewed commitment to workplace health and safety. And you'll see our township flags lowered to half-mast on this day to commemorate this important day. And lastly, May 1st is the First Responders Day, and just again a reminder of the important role that our fire department and our paramedics play in this community. And just to recognize, we have one firefighter one current firefighter, one retired firefighter around the council table, as well as a retired paramedic. just to recognize that first responders are, again, an important role in our community, and we can't thank them enough. I'll also remind everyone that it is that time of year when many of our residents are watching the water levels on the Ottawa River. Freshet for us is when we see the huge watershed of the Ottawa River melting and flowing down into the Ottawa River. And as I've mentioned before, our regional freshet meetings have begun. Whitewater is an active participant at the table, monitoring the levels, discussing forecasts of the weather and the impacts that it's having in order to guide M&R in their assessments. Whitewater region, as you'll note that within Whitewater region, the water levels are rising this week. And this will, without doubt, impact a number of our residents. At this point in time, we are taking next steps to prepare for the event if a response is going to be warranted. And I'll just ask staff if they could provide a brief update on where we're at right now for preparedness.
I would probably just highlight maybe 2 or 3 things. One is that we did issue our first news release yesterday with respect to the flood preparedness and mitigation measures. So it was issued, the news release was issued yesterday together with social media posts today. It speaks to the current flood warning that was issued by the Ministry of Natural Resources with respect to Renfrew County. So recognizing that the Ministry of Natural Resources, our Pembroke district is informing the residents that we are in a flood warning situation, and that we'll likely see, we're expected to see the Ottawa River rise, and we'll see some flooding occurring in low-lying areas. The flood readiness team, so this team of staff were meeting as of March 15th up until today. Today was our first municipal emergency control group meeting. So the MECG met for the first time today before the council meeting. It was an initial touch point. We do have some next steps that are going to be further discussed tomorrow. So we are preparing to position sand at the Westmeath garage. With hopes to initiate some sort of sandbag preparation in the coming days. For the present moment, we're going to communicate that likely tomorrow afternoon after our next Municipal Emergency Control Group meeting. We'd encourage residents to, as noted in the press release, to continue to monitor conditions through the Ottawa River Regulation Planning Board website, which is providing current conditions together with a 4-day forecast. We note that based on conversations with them, it will be updated daily. So you see a 4-day forecast, but it will be updated daily. And together with the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry website, Ontario Power Generation, Renfrew County District Health Unit, and 511, Municipal 511, where is the road access or any restrictions around that. So to the general public watching, we will have further updates tomorrow afternoon. Thanks so much.
Excellent, and that ends my report to council and the public. Is there any questions or comments from council on anything you heard today? Excellent, good, we'll carry on. Next item on the agenda is public comments. I'll just ask the clerk if there's been any public comments received.
There are none. If I could ask through you, the mayor, if we could take a short recess before we get to agenda item 10.1, and then we'll resume after that recess if possible. Thanks.
Outstanding. So we'll take a short recess now and we'll give it 5 minutes. So at 2:05 we'll launch again. And welcome back to the Township of Whitewater Region's regular council meeting for Wednesday, April 15th. We're going to call ourselves back to order here at 2:08 PM and jump back into the agenda at item 10, which is reports. 10.5 or 10.1 is our 2024 year-end report, and the recommendation is that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve, one, the 2024 audited financial statements prepared by McKillen and Associates and accept the management letter for information purposes. 2, the 2024 development charge report. And 3, the 2024 annual report on building permit fees. Can I get a mover and a seconder to get this on the floor, please? Councillor Olmsted and seconded by Councillor Trim. And with that, I'm going to hand the floor over to our treasurer.
Thank you, Mayor Nixon. So I'll go into a little bit of the report first and then pass it over to our auditor to present the financial statements. So this report is the annual report for the development charges, building permit fees, and the financial statements. I want to apologize to council for the lateness of this report due to the fact that it's a 2024 financial statements. With the events of last year with the cyber incident with asset management and the affordability stuff with budget, it got a little bit sidetracked or pushed off of as the actual report, but I was finally able to bring it to resolution there now. 2025's financial statements will not be as tardy, I promise. With that, I'll pass it over to Rory. So Roy Richards is a partner with McKillen Associates since 2008. He holds a Bachelor of Commerce with the University of Guelph prior to becoming a chartered professional accountant and has in-depth tax training with the Institute of Chartered Accountants. He specializes in owner-managed businesses, not-for-profit entities, public sector organizations, and assurance engagements, and has been the township's auditor for a number of years. And with that, I'll pass it over to Roy.
Thank you. I think everyone hopefully has a copy of the statements, so I'll just kind of go over some highlights. If we turn to page 1, the independent auditor's report, I'm just going to highlight. There's 4 main paragraphs. The first paragraph's the opinion paragraph, just states the various financial statements that have been audited, the title of each one, the date covered. In this case, as Curtis mentioned, it's 31 December 2024. And then states the auditor conclusion. In this case, we believe the financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects. The second paragraph, the basis of opinion, states the audit was conducted under generally accepted auditing standards. We believe the evidence we've obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a base for our opinion. The third paragraph, manager's responsibility for the financial statements. This section of the report describes responsibility of those in the organization for the preparation of financial statements, and ultimately those charged with governance are responsible for overseeing the township's financial reporting process. Then the last paragraph is the auditor's responsibility, and that's our objective is to obtain reasonable assurance that the statements are free from material misstatement. Reasonable assurance is a high-level assurance, but not a guaranteed fact, and a misstatement is considered material if it individually or aggregate it could reasonably be expected to influence the economic decision of a user. So if we move over to page 3, which is the consolidated statement of financial position.
I'll just make one note so everybody notices. It's the top right-hand corners where the numbers on the actual pages are, so they don't track exactly with the report itself. The top right-hand corner is where the numbers are for the pages that you're looking for. Whenever Rory references a number, that's what he's going with, not our reports.
Just before we start, we're all good? We all have it up? Anybody need any assistance? No? And the CAO will put it up there just so you can reference it, although you can't read it from there, but it's there. Back to you, Rory.
Okay, so we'll move on to the first statement. That's the consolidated statement of financial position, similar to a balance sheet in a for-profit entity. First area is financial assets, cash and cash equivalents. There was an increase of just over $400,000. It's related to the surplus for the year, new loan obtained, and an increase in deferred revenue. The next item is the taxes receivable. There was an increase of $257,000 outstanding. It increased to about 11% of total taxation billed from 9.3%, and majority of this is in current, and this does include the education and county portion, which the municipality has to collect for them, but it is remitted in the year whether the payment's been received from the ratepayer or not. Next item is the accounts receivable. There's an increase of about 173. Within that, there's water and sewer of 244, Cobb and water of 353, due from the federal government of 205 for HST, and then amount receivable from the school board of 116. And then the last item is investments, and this is the Otter River Power investment, and there was no change for the year. So total financial assets were $5,540,000, almost 45,000 for the year. Next area is the liabilities, accounts payable and accrued liabilities. There's an increase of 381,000. Within that, there is trade payables of 696, building permit deposits of 105, planning of 79,000, and then overtime and vacation of 95,000, and then due to Ontario of 259,000. This just relates to timing of when payments and invoices are received. In the deferred revenue obligatory reserve funds, this relates to the gas tax of 87, just almost 88,000, development charges of 316,000, and OSIF funding of 413,000. Net long-term debt, there was one new debt, or new loan obtained of just over 861,000. That relates to the landfill compactor. And then there's payments of long-term debt of 1,076,235. So a net decrease in long-term debt year over year. And then the last item under liability is the asset retirement. This is based on engineering studies, and it consists of the landfill closure site of 462,562, and then building remediation of 257,226, and there's no change year over year, as the estimate did not change. So total liabilities did increase slightly to 17,720,294, resulting in net financial liabilities of the 12,175,000. Non-financial assets, which are assets are not deemed or generally turned to cash within the current year or used to fund operating activities. The first item is the tangible capital assets, which is the gross amount of assets less amortization. There was additions of almost 2.7 million and amortization of almost 2 million at 1.99 million. Within the additions, there was a tandem plow truck of 377,000, sidewalk tractor of 135,000, work at Colesmith Road of 231,000, and Rapid Road of 299,000. The landfill compactors of 862,000, and then the Beachburg water plant of just about 410,000. The net financial, next item is the inventory of supplies. There was an increase of just over 35,000. This relates to gravel of 75,000, sand of 23,000, and fuel of just about 34,000. Then the last item is prepaid expenses. And this is the Central Square subscription of just over 23,000, and the balance is conferences and conferences that have been prepaid. So total non-financial assets increased to 47,735,000, resulting in accumulated surplus of 35,559,764. And the bottom as the accumulated surplus, that amount is comprised of then the 5 areas. So we have our equity and tangible capital assets. So this will differ from the tangible capital assets by the long-term debt is removed from it, since that amount hasn't been paid. Then there's the Whitewater Region Library, Historical Society, and then there's reserves and reserve funds of 3,872,814, an increase of just over 600,000. And then the unfunded asset retirement obligation is backed out of that. If anyone has any questions related to this statement?
Excellent. Any questions on this statement presented from our auditor? Yes, Councillor Olmsted.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. And it's in terms of trends. I assume you do other municipalities as well. Are you seeing similar trends? I see our assets, looks like our financial assets are up about 17%. Our liabilities are relatively flat, I guess. little harder collecting by the look of it, collecting taxes and some payments.
I think, yeah, I'd say overall, there's a trend of taxation receivable increasing. I think a lot of them you have to really work at like reminder notices, and then some municipalities have taken some to tax sale. Just not as a threat, but just eventually you have to move on them. But overall, it is a growing concern, because it's like taxation increases and some people can't afford it, or it's
Yeah.
not a priority to pay.
Affordability seems to be an issue Canada-wide.
Yeah. Like, it's not that, like, the township has to operate, and that's what the taxation is, but the majority, I know some municipalities seem to have like some large, like, commercial properties that make up a large balance, but overall, they all seem to be increasing.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, please carry on.
If you flip over to page 4, that's the consolidated statement of operations and accumulated surplus. It's consolidated because it does include the Historical Society and Library, but they're fairly minor in the grand scheme. We can see that on the revenue area, taxation user charges, taxation was just over 7 million, at 7.1 million. Supplemental taxes were just over 79,000, write-offs of 16,000, collection fees of 645,000, and sewer and water, sewer of just over $1 million, and water just over $1.3 million dollars. The Ontario funding related to the municipal partnership funding of $1,149,000, Ontario infrastructure of $349,000, recycling grant of $205,000, and then Safe Start of $73,000. The Canadian grant, it relates to, the main item is the gas tax of just about $252,000, and summer grant of, summer grant of the balance. And then the last item in other, it consists of interest revenue related to taxation of $196,000, investment income of $142,000, arena fees of $227,000, building permits of $172,000, and tipping fees of $253,000. So total revenue for the municipality was $13,754,000. In the expense area, you see general government. It consists of council wages of 168, administration wages about 763, and administration materials of 532,000. They're the main items. In protection to person and properties, fire consisted of 839,000, policing of just over $1 million. We did the full PP contract. Building permit cost of $256,000, and within that, there's also amortization of $158,000. Transportation, which is the largest cost center, there were salaries of $1,260,000, materials of $1,273,000, interest costs of $289,000, and amortization of $1,278,000. Environment services consist of contracts of $1,575,000, wages of $297,000, interest of $199,000, and amortization of $346,000. Social services consists of wages of just over $38,000, and material costs of $79,000. And then recreation and cultural services consist of library costs of $116,000, recreation facilities of $652,000, parks $352,000, and amortization of $134,000. And the last area is the planning and zoning, which had costs, or planning and development, which within that there's planning and zoning costs of just over $200,000, economic development of just about $59,000 consists of that. So total expenses were $12,672,123, resulting in net revenues of $1,082,179. I'm thinking maybe if if everyone could flip to page 20, just quickly. This is the statement of general ops, so it's just the municipality. The main revenue and expenses are the same. I just we moved down, you can see the excess of revenue or expenses of the 927,973, and then we can see the transfers to the different areas, which is, they transferred an amount to the library of just about 81,000 to the Historical Society of just over 4,000. Then there was a transfer to reserves of 373,000, and then the transfer to equity and TCAs of 470. So once those were all transferred to the different equity accounts, the municipality ended up with a nil balance for the year.
Questions from council? Yes, Councillor White.
So if I read this correctly, we overspent by 927,973, but we were bringing that in from reserves anyway?
The opposite. Like your revenue was lower, your revenue was higher than your expenses.
Revenue is higher.
Like the revenue was, say, 12,373,000. You have expenses of 11,445,000, resulting in a excess revenue over expenses of the almost 928,000.
But it says net transfers, so you transferred money in?
No, you transferred, so out of that, you transferred money to the library and to the Historical Society. Then you transferred money to your reserve fund, your reserves, increased your reserves.
Okay.
And then you transferred money to your equity and TCAs, which is investment in your
Okay,
capital
I was looking
assets.
at it backwards then. Okay.
Any other questions from members of council? Yeah, Councillor Bell.
Sorry, can I just get a quick explanation of the tangible capital assets, the equity in tangible capital assets?
Yeah. I think there's a note I just have to find a note that has the number for you. You turn to page 15 and note 12. Page 15, sorry, note 12. So that's the equity and tangible capital assets reconciliation. So the tangible capital assets are the almost 47.5 million. Then you take off your net long-term debt, and then amounts to be funded in future years. Amounts to be funded in future years is like you're kind of internally financing that. So it just means the municipality hasn't funded those assets or those costs. So as you pay down your debt, you're transferring out of your current fund to the equity, and that'll increase your equity in TCAs.
Good, Councillor Bell? Yep. Yeah, anyone else? Councillor Olmsted?
Just a follow-up to that, can you give us an example of something to be funded in future years?
Like an asset that you have?
Yeah, under that note, under the note 12, it says amount to be funded in future years, 645. Like, is that, so it's not a committed liability, or what is that?
That's correct. So it's something that's, one of the areas currently under there is the Beachbrook Water Treatment Plant at that point in time, because the grant funding hasn't been received. So there's no revenue to offset the actual unfunded portion of it. Same thing with any construction project we would go through and complete. One of them we would have seen was Cameron or Elvira at one point in time. Before it was completely finally financed, it sat as unfunded, hence why it would sit there until the debenture came in to actually offset the funding of that. For this current budget year, you'll notice whenever we are purchasing the tandem truck, a portion of that, about $41,000 was remaining as unfunded. It would then show in this line for the 2026 year, and then be funded in the 2027 fiscal year.
Got it.
It's whenever the revenue is actually received.
Thank you.
Good. Any other questions? I have one, and I've lost the page numbering, but the very first one that you spoke to, the very first page that you spoke to
The audit
in this
report?
set of questions? No.
Oh. The general? Right?
I'm gonna go back. Sorry to be just be patient, it's, okay.
I think it was page 20 he was on, was the general operations.
No, it was, we did consolidated statement, we did that, we took questions, and then we did the
Okay, page
statement of
4.
operations accumulated surplus?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, that's the one I'd like to talk to, page 4.
Okay.
It's good, I'll give everybody a second, I know you're gonna swipe your fingers through to page 4. Note for next year, we'll get hard copies. I think it's just easier for some people to flip through, so. Good, okay, so page 4, we're talking about consolidated statement of operations and accumulated surplus. So I just want to understand, and because I'm trying to, on behalf of the public as well, correlate the audited statements to all the discussion and all the time we invest in the budgeting process. So I'm trying to make sure that we can help draw the correlations between the two, and I'm hoping that we can shed light on that. When we look at the budgeted column for 2024, our net revenues, we planned to have more revenue than expenses of $1 million. And we pretty much came on budget for that. Can you explain what that revenue is for if it's not an expense?
Like why, you're asking why the budget is higher than the actual in revenue?
No, in the budgeted one, just stay in the budgeted column, linking
Yes.
back to our budgeting process. We collected 13.9 million, and we expensed 12.9, and we basically have, we collected an extra $1 million, it looks like. Net revenues are $1 million.
Well, you didn't collect more.
That's,
You just,
hoping you can
you
explain
did,
what
you
that
collect,
is.
you collected less than what you budgeted, like by, say, roughly 200,000. You just spent, and you spent 3 million. The reason, okay, the reason it looks like that is because your capital purchases aren't included in this. That's why, so like you budget more on, let's say, like on a cash basis, like what you're gonna spend out. This doesn't include your capital purchases, but includes amortization. So there's gonna be a difference in those two amounts. And you also budget for your principal portion of your loans in your in your budget, and they are not included in here, only the interest. So it may look like you have $1 million, like you budgeted $1 million, but that doesn't have any principal costs, principal expenses in there at all, which are $1 million. And your amortization and that's included in here kind of offsets your capital purchases, but that's why it kind of looks like you have a budgeted surplus, but in actuality, expense-wise, you didn't.
Perfect. Council, you're tracking? Good. So now I want to take it one step further. So basically, first, we've confirmed that we didn't collect more than we had planned to spend. We just collected it for another purpose than what's listed on here. Clear? You have talked about a $400,000 surplus. Using this point of reference, is it sporadically spread out across these numbers? Where is that surplus, can we attribute it to within this statement?
Be it in reserves. It was transferred to reserves to be spent in future years.
So that surplus is in that $1 million net revenue,
Yes.
transferred to
Yeah.
reserves?
Yeah.
And surplus in the fact that we planned to spend it, but we didn't spend it on the things we planned to spend,
Yeah.
so it gets put into the reserve for next year.
Yeah, like if a project didn't occur, or get finished, or something didn't get purchased, or a service, then you put it into reserves, so maybe it's gonna occur in 2025 or 6. So the fund is still there.
It's almost a liability in our, maybe that's the wrong word, but
Oh,
we know we're
I
going to
wouldn't say
spend it in the
liability,
future. Yeah. Okay, so that $1 million, that net revenues, that's broken down in the second table that you referred to?
Like in the general just kind of shows where that, say, roughly million got allocated to. So some of it got allocated to capital, some of it got allocated to reserves. So it
Perfect.
just kind of shows where it goes.
I'm just going to come back to that, again, just to make sure that we see it. What page was that? 20? Thank you. Sorry, you guys have to be patient. I'm trying to make sure I understand. Okay, so just to say, we have that $1 million that we didn't attribute directly to an expense. It basically correlates to the transfers listed.
Yes.
That's correct. It's a little bit off. What's that difference?
So as Rory had mentioned, that because these are consolidated financial statements, the first million, that included the library, it included the Historical Society.
Good. Good. So our transfer to reserves, we budgeted 234, we actually did 373. Good. So that's only 100,000 of the surplus. Where's the other 300,000?
Well, you transferred the 470 to the equity and TCAs. Like it,
Am I trying to find a correlation that isn't there?
I'm not.
Maybe you could rephrase it or something, walk through it.
Okay.
Like you're saying you had $1 million in the previous statement, where did it go?
Mm-hmm.
What we're showing, like,
I understand that it's broken up there, but
Yeah.
I'm coming back to that surplus that we've declared for 2024, 400,000. And you said we put it in reserves. But here, we're only putting 100,000 over what we budgeted into reserves.
Because, I can take this, so we weren't technically budgeting a surplus in the first place. So it was originally supposed to be tagged, as you can see in the budget column. There was a certain amount that was supposed to go to each reserve as it was. So the difference that you see, you'll notice the transfer to reserves is up by 100,000. The other one is down, but technically that money is not technically going to the reserve as a whole, because there's other pieces being funded at the same time. So the overall, it still lines up to the amount. If you notice, the overall total between what was budgeted was $922,000 to go to reserve, but the other side is $927,000. There's only a $3,000 difference. It's just an allocation as to where they were. Some expenses were higher under certain categories, and that's why there's a shift. But overall, as a net, they're the same.
Good, I'm feeling comfortable. Does that trigger any questions or comments from council? No? Good. We're good to continue then. Thank you.
it's not leaving reserves, I guess, or is that, maybe we'll, I'll just briefly talk, if we turn to page 23. So you can see the this is a schedule of reserve and reserve funds, so it just shows the contributions and then also the transfers out. So there were transfers from two reserves of the $1,456,000, but then there's transfers out to operations and tangible capital assets of $817,856, resulting in change in reserve and reserve funds of the $638,212, and resulting in our ending balance of the $3,873,000. And then you can see how the reserves are broken up into where those amounts are earmarked to go for future projects.
Perfect. I'm going to see if there's any questions from any members of council. No? Yes, Councillor Olmsted?
I'll ask the question that's on everybody's mind, that no, that money's not in the bank. But does that mean that if we have collected all revenue, that typically that, roughly that amount of money should be sitting in account somewhere?
If you collected all your receivables, paid off all your payables, then that would be left over, yes.
Right. So no, we don't have $3.8 million sitting in the bank.
That's where, like, tax receivable collection is so important, because you can end up with a cash flow crunch, even
Yeah.
though you may have lots of reserves.
Great, thank you.
Yes, Treasurer?
I will make one note that in the coming meeting, we will be bringing a reserve policy. We already have one here at the township, but we'll be doing a revision to that policy, more or less to lay out what the limits on these pieces integrate in the new reserves that we were talking about through the budget committee, of creating one for roads, parks, land improvements, storm sewer, like those categories. So there'll be a report brought forward to take the current level of all the reserves that we have, consolidating them down to kind of match what's in these financial statements, and then set limits to them on that side. So more detail will come of these reserves shortly.
Yeah, perfect. And it's easy to see where the 400,000 is there between the 1.1 in 2023 and the 1.6 in 2024. That's where the surplus went, into that working capital. Okay, this report outlines it. And I would just say, the question I would throw at staff, and you're going to talk about it in that policy you come back, is 3.8 million in reserves, whether or not it's actual cash or not, aside. Is that the right number? Is it too high? Is it too low? We need that answered. So that will be answered in your policy, correct?
That's correct. So that'll be the direction for it. So it'll act as a guiding document for both budgeting processes and for where surpluses go. So right now, anytime the municipality has an overall operating surplus, it goes to working capital unless it's been budgeted to go to a different reserve. If you noted, in the last budget process, we had $5,000 going to protective services for the vehicle, $20,000 going for post-care care of the landfill. Those are pieces that are in the budget, so they're already going to go there no matter what the surplus or deficit is. Those are earmarked to go to those categories. What is the remainder, what is left, that's what goes to working capital. So what the goal of the policy would be is ahead of time allocating chunks to reserves and using those reserves, and then stipulating what happens with certain portions of reserves. So let's say roads, for example, salt. We'll use that as we don't spend it in the year. As the municipality, if there's a surplus in that one category, does that go to a roads reserve rather than just the working surplus? So that it then can fund that process later on in the future if there ever is an over expenditure there. Because the goal of working capital, as I've stated before, is the emergency reserve. So it really has no earmarks to it at all. Through council, do we break that down more granular and go to individual departments more or less? If certain departments need their own kind of safety reserve, that's where that goes down to, rather than just all in one big pot that gets tracked that way.
Councillor Trim.
Is there a recommendation, thank you, Mr. Mayor, from the province as to some sort of a percentage of reserve we should have just based on our taxation? Is that recommended, and are we within that recommendation?
No, they don't have a percentage, just because I'd say a lot of your reserves have to flow out of your capital asset plan, like where you see your costs are going to be in the next 5, 10, 15 years. So every municipality has different asset mixes and costs and conditions of roads. So that'll dictate like what their reserve structure should be and services. So they don't give a percentage, but your reserves should flow out of what your long-term planning is and how you're going to fund that long-term planning.
And that piece is coming, because we don't have that at the moment?
So the one piece that the Councillor Trim was kind of alluding to, and that Rory is alluding to, is whenever the reserves, they're going to tie hand in hand to the asset management plan, where we list out the assets, list out the categories, what the reserve piece is, and then that leads into what the actual, how the pieces are being funded. Because as he's stating, is the money is supposed to be directed to something specific, and right now what happens is anytime any of the current projects go over or anything, it's up to council's discretion whether we use that working capital for that, but it really has no guideline as to an amount that can get pulled from it at this point in time. It's just, it's the catch-all surplus type of thing. And what the goal is to try and dwindle that down so that each piece has its own, for lack of a better term, bucket of money through that reserve, and that is what can be spent in the year, and you know what the impact is of using that X amount of dollars. Because when we build that 5-year and 10-year capital plan, you'll see that if you move one project up or it goes up a certain amount of money, oh, we have to take project X off the list because, or push it down the line because of that impact. And that's the goal, is so that every area is funded and our level of service is clearly dictated or laid out in that plan. Yeah.
I'm going to echo just from a budgeting perspective, and I apologize, Mr. Auditor. This is not necessarily, but we raised taxes. I don't remember what the percentage increase was in 2024 for very deliberate purposes. That surplus from that, whatever, there was an increase in taxation that was collected. That surplus went into the working funds. So in a way, it's not being applied to those priorities. It's going into a general working fund. And we'd have to reestablish those priorities again the next year. So by putting it into a general fund and not tying it to priority projects, you're having to redo that analysis every year. Does that make sense? So if it's important enough for us to raise the taxation rate for that project, it should be dedicated, that fund should stay dedicated to it as we go along. Unless, of course, we can deliver that project for less than it was budgeted for. I'm not saying anything incorrect. Okay, good. The next thing I'd say is an example I would use as a reference point is the waterworks system. It's currently sitting at $1 million reserve. That dollar amount, we have deliberately established it in our 10-year rate study. We have said, water, you're going to do all of these projects. We have to do these projects over the next 10 years. We need to raise this much money. Therefore, the rates need to be this each one of those 10 years in order to drive to make sure we have the right amount of money to do those priority projects. So I can put my hand on my heart and say that $1 million in the waterworks system, it's accounted for. I know exactly what project it's. I can go back to that 10-year plan and I can say it's dedicated to that project. We're using that money. It's sitting there for this purpose in the future to try to smooth out rate increases. We want to apply that logic to every other reserve account in there. And that's my opinion. Treasurer, please.
That's perfect. And then the other thing, since you pointed out the waterworks one, I just want to put it out so that the public is aware. That does not include, that currently includes projects that are already been programmed to be financed. So that includes the Beachburg Water Treatment Plant, which already had $500,000 allocated to it. It just hasn't been removed from that $1 million. So because the $1 million shows us that, it doesn't, this is a snapshot in time, but does not include the projects that haven't occurred yet. The reserve may exist there because the project is programmed to be done, just since it hadn't happened or been expenses to use it yet. The money is still sitting there, but it's programmed in as to the reason why the balance is there. So there'll be two sides to it. There'll be the unfunded and uncompleted projects, as well as the actual reserve balance that should be in those projects.
Please come on in. We're just finishing up some other points. That's perfect. The last point I'll make is that at some point in the future, we're going to take it down as a deliverable. We are looking at what we're doing with that increase in the working capital. We want to purposefully make decisions as to where it's going to go. It's good? Okay, perfect. Any other questions? Yes, Councillor Moore and then Councillor Trim.
Does that proposed increase for years to come affect our granting opportunities if we have too much money?
Treasurer, you want to make a comment?
It's kind of a two-sided piece. It would show that the municipality, one, has its own plan as to where the funding is coming from, but also shows the limit as to how much funding is for that category. Because one of the challenges right now is whenever a grant comes through, most times it's mid-budget period, and you're trying to allocate how much money will be able to go to it next year and saying the entire capital budget is $3 million. Well, we're not going to allocate the entire capital budget to one project. We can't. There's too many assets to do that. So what portion will be able to be allocated to it? That'll make it a lot simpler in those parts of saying, well, for the next 3 years for roads, we have $1 million to spend on roads. We can only allocate 75% of that $1 million to that one project that we're applying for a grant. So here's our upset limit. This is why we need that grant in order to do it. I think that's the biggest goal that we can get out of that, is saying, we have an upset limit without making it unaffordable for our residents, and in order to get to that point without this grant, we wouldn't be able to do it for X number of years. We have those two pieces to tie together and say, here's our dollar value, this is why we need the money.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Trim?
Yes, and just finally, I think you've made the point already, Mr. Mayor. It would be good that we can put our hand to our heart and be able to say, this is what we're spending. This is why we asked for this money from you. I don't think ratepayers appreciate the fact that we might be collecting money to invest. They may say, well, no, let us invest our own money. We don't need you to do that for us. So this is a really good route. I don't think we were doing that, but it'd be very nice that we can show that we're raising the exact amount of money that we need. So I'm very pleased with this. Thank you.
Good. No final questions? Is there anything else left to present?
Yeah, so it's just the development charges and the building permit fees for the year. So development charges have to be reported for the period that they were collected in. So for 2024, you'll notice that the contributions for the year was $58,251.
Just what page?
Sorry. Very, very back. Last 2 pages of the actual report.
Okay, good. So 46 and 47.
Yep. Apologies. So you'll notice that in the total year in the contributions, we had $58,251, which was actually collected from the building permits that were issued. And then the interest that was earned in that overall account was $6,651. So in total, in the general, which includes the township-wide ones, is $316,312 at 23. And then under our urban services, which is just the water and wastewater systems, water we collected $5,000, wastewater we collected $1,500, so total of $6,500. So under that category, there's $33,500 for a total of just under $350,000. So at the end of 2024, we had $350,000 that could be used to fund development or growth-related capital projects. Any questions on that section? Then I'll go to building permits.
Any questions on development charges? And I'll just acknowledge that there is a very detailed development charges study that dictates exactly how that is accounted for and reported back to us. So it all has a very purposeful projects that it can be applied to. And that is part of our discussions in the budget committee as to how we will prioritize that. Good, move on to the next one, please.
Perfect. The next one is the building permit fees. So again, it needs to be reported after the annual process. So you'll notice total revenue for 2024 was $172,000. So that's relative to the amount of permits that were issued. And then expenses, so there's direct costs, which are your salaries, $223,597. Indirect costs, which is the miscellaneous operating of $18,636 for a total of $242,233. And then per the actual construction side, so for the permits that were issued, the construction value of such permits was $21,904,310. And then our building official, who's not here right now, but total permits issued was 193. Residential was 73. Non-residential was 54. We had 5 demolition, and then there were 61 septic systems. I will note that the $21 million of construction value is the estimated value. It does not completely correlate to the assessment value that would be put on the property that we would then see for taxation. There is a difference there because the construction value is what it costs to build the home, and that's not the exact amount that MPAC then assesses the property on. There's a lot of factors that the municipality or the MPAC goes to do that assessment. So it's not completely related to what we see as an increase, but there is a relative there. Any questions?
Councillor White.
Okay, so are you saying that in our building permit fees, we spent we took in 172, and we spent 242, so 69,921 is what we had to put into that fund?
So that's what was funded by taxation.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
That's the split, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from members of council? Good. All right, I don't see any. Does that conclude?
That concludes.
Okay, excellent. So just to come back, the resolution that's on the floor has us approving the 2024 audited financial statements, approving the 2024 development charge report, and approving the 2024 annual report on building permit fees. Before I call for the vote, any last questions? Comments? Okay, I see none. We'll call for the vote. All those in favor? And it's carried. Thank you, Rory, for your time today. Appreciate the work you've invested into auditing our financial statements. Thank you. Good. And with that, we recognize that we have a presentation that we're going to be doing at 3 o'clock. So we will take a short recess, get reset up for that, and do the presentations, then recommence the rest of the reports. And welcome to the Township of Whitewater Region's regular council meeting for Wednesday, April 15th. We're going to call ourselves to order here at 3:07 p.m. And apologize for the delay. We're just going to be going through item 7.4 on the agenda, which is our Volunteer Appreciation Awards. And we were just waiting to see if we could get the third representative, but for some unforeseeable reason, they're not able to join us today. So we're going to proceed with the two nominations and talk about the third one, and then we'll redo it specifically for the third awardee at a future date. So I just have some opening comments. As part of National Volunteer Week, it's Council's great privilege to celebrate the remarkable contributions of 3 extraordinary residents who exemplify the spirit of volunteerism in Whitewater Region. Volunteers are the cornerstone of our community, and we all know that too well. I couldn't list all the volunteers, the organizations, the events, the community building efforts that have happened in Whitewater Region in 2025. But what comes to mind? There are volunteers that touch almost every element of our community, from our recreation associations, sports or associations, school parent councils, seniors groups, biking, ATV, snowmobile, hockey, ball, the Civitant, Lions, our Legion, our church groups, Whitewater Seniors, the Tourist Booth, the Egg Societies, 4-H, Junior Farmers, Food Bank, Historical Society, Muskrat Watershed, and our fire department associations, and ConnectWell. But I could go on and on and on. Volunteers are really what drive our community. What they do for us is immeasurable, and what makes Whitewater what it is. To our volunteers, your commitment to Whitewater Region is nothing short of inspiring. You have given your time, energy, and heart to make our community stronger, more inclusive, and more compassionate. On behalf of the entire region, I extend my deepest gratitude for all that our volunteers do. It is a gift, not just to those you help, but to the entire community. It's a testament to the values we hold dear: kindness, generosity, and a willingness to lift each other up. So today we shine a spotlight on 3 residents whose dedication and selflessness have made a lasting impact. I will now ask our Deputy Mayor, Kathy Rieger, to MC the formal recognition of our 3 residents.
Thank you very much, Mayor. So if you'd like to come forward first, please. So we would like to begin with our Youth Volunteer Award from Lachlan Kenny. So Lachlan, if you could come forward, please. I would like to begin with the Youth Volunteer Award. This year's recipient, as I mentioned, is Lachlan Kenny. Lachlan has been recognized for his volunteer contributions at the Westmeath Hall, where he has assisted with community events and supported PA Day programmings. His willingness to help and be involved at a young age is commendable, and we are very proud to recognize his efforts. So thank you very much, Lachlan. And Mom may want a picture in there too. Mom, do you want in here, Mom? Do you want to come in and have a picture? Thank you very much.
We're going to get a group photo at the end with the awardees, so we'll get you back in.
Okay. Next, we have our Adult Volunteer Award presented to Monica Lagrada. So Monica, if you'd like to come up, please. Monica has served as treasurer for the library board for approximately 8 years, providing strong financial leadership and stability. In addition, she supports the Beachburg Agricultural Society, demonstrating her continued commitment to community involvement. Her dedication and reliability have made a meaningful impact, and we thank her for her service. So thank you very much, Monica.
Good, you want to get down? That's up to you. We know you can't volunteer without family support. Here it is. That's for sure. We've got the best hair in the valley. I know what. Thank you. Good. So we can volunteer the ones that you're taking here. Sure. Good. Now, the youngest is here, right? What's your name again? Ophelia? Ophelia? Do you want to hold this for Mom? Or does Mom want to hold it? It's up to you. Good. One hand right here. Grab on that corner with this hand. Yeah, and this hand here. Good. And I want you to hold it just up by your chin. Don't cover your face though. We want to see your face. Good. All right, here we go. Cheese. Awesome. Just slide it in, just so you don't hold it. Carry it around. It's good. Do you want to stay for a second, Monica? We're gonna get council info, is that okay? Okay. Yeah, sure. Good, so we'll get you come back up. You want to say Lachlan, is that right? Yeah. Sorry, names don't stick well. Guys, do you want to come on in? So I'll get in the picture. Get in there. You guys are in the front, we're gonna stand behind you. Right there is good, yeah? We're just gonna line you guys up around you. I'll get the deputy around the other side. We're in the bookend.
We're the bookends?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good, you guys slide right in. Keep coming. Keep coming here. Awesome, yeah. Slide right in there.
Okay.
Can't see
Yeah.
Bonnie.
Good. Awesome.
Bonnie's missing.
Can't see you coming.
Tommy wants to hide.
Alright, everybody looking here. Perfect.
Good. Great. Good. So I'm gonna ask, we're just gonna get the deputy mayor to talk about the third volunteer who couldn't be here today. We're gonna re-recognize her separately, but we wanna share everything that she's done for her role. Okay? And then we'll-
Thank you, Brent, Mayor. So the Lifetime Achievement Award is presented to Bonnie Helferty. Bonnie has made an extraordinary contribution to our community over many years. She has initiated and taken the lead with the Cobden District Food Bank for 24 years and supported the Santa Claus Parade for an incredible 50 years. She has also organized the Terry Fox Walk since 1999, showing a long-standing commitment to community events and charitable causes. Her decades of service truly embody the spirit of volunteerism, and we are honored to recognize her today. And on behalf of council, we want to thank you for all the recipients for your dedication. Is that yours? Okay. Sorry. On behalf of council, thank you for all the recipients for your dedication and service to the Township of Whitewater Region. We would like to acknowledge all those who were nominated, as well as the many volunteers across our community who contribute in countless ways every day. Your efforts do not go unnoticed, and they are deeply appreciated. Thank you all.
Awesome. So that concludes the presentation. We're going to get back into the nitty-gritty of the rest of our agenda. We will not be offended if you want to leave. But thank you again for all that you do.
Thank you.
Good. Excellent. And just, we'll make sure that we make arrangements to get Bonnie here so we can properly recognize her Lifetime Achievement Award. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Good. Next on the agenda, 10.2 is our 2026 Q1 admin report. And the recommendation is the Council of Township Whitewater Region receive the 2026 Q1 administration report. Mover and a seconder, please. So Councillor Olmsted and the Deputy Mayor. And this goes over to the CAO.
Yeah, thanks so much, and I'll just briefly review the message from the CAO to the members of council and the public watching, and then we'll work through the different departments. And if I could ask my colleagues if they could just invite the other staff that are not currently present to just join us, please, that would be great. Thank you. So what I've highlighted in my message to the general public, together with the council, is just recognizing that we've continued to work on our priority areas. That is supporting long-term sustainability, affordability, and community well-being. So firstly, I highlight the significant milestone with the provincial funding announcement to the township under the Municipal Housing Infrastructure Program. So that $4 million funding that we received from the province of Ontario as it pertains to the upgrades to our water treatment plant here in the village of Cobden. So this funding stems from many years of advocacy to the province of Ontario through the Ministry of Infrastructure to try to get more funding to help support these critical upgrades in our water and wastewater systems. The second area that I highlight pertains to affordability. So we continue to work on the development of our 2026 asset management plan. And we're working on that alongside the 10-year capital and operating plan. So as part of the 2026 budget process, we've been sort of working at this capital and operating plan, and we continue to work on our asset management plan. So these are foundational initiatives that will help shape future investment and service delivery decisions of members of council together with policy development. So a very important initiative and certainly an area of priority for 2026. The first quarter was also marked with our continued celebration of our 25th anniversary, and you'll see in my note the official logo for the 25th anniversary. So just recognizing that we've received the logo and it is now being portrayed throughout the year. We've also allocated our $10,000. So council had set aside $10,000 in grants to sort of align our 25th anniversary with contributions from volunteers and community leaders as part of their activities. So recognizing that these organizations put on some great events, and it's important for us to work alongside them to recognize our contributions and their contributions in our community. And then thirdly, with respect to 25th anniversaries, we're working at preparing for the Community Connection Fair and Touch a Truck event. So I thank my manager of community services for her efforts. She's putting in organizing this and given it a name. I'm happy to see the Community Connection Fair and Touch a Truck event to be scheduled in August of this year. And then lastly, just again acknowledging the efforts of staff and their ongoing dedication to the community. Through Q1, we did have our Employee Appreciation Day, so it's sort of a national day to recognize and appreciate our employees. So we did take a moment to pause and appreciate employees and their ongoing work. And then noted in here is the preparation of our first Employee Recognition Program award ceremony. It was actually held yesterday, Q2, so I didn't highlight it in my Q1 report, but I'm really happy to have been able to sort of implement that. I think it was quite well received with staff, and I will speak to that in the announcements section of our agenda, if you'll allow me to do that, just to run through the people who were the recipients of these awards and recognition. So lastly, just thanking council, staff, volunteers, community partners for their continued collaboration in moving everything forward in 2026. And with that, I will, thanks to our staff for attending here, move the discussion to our Chief Building Official, Doug Schultz, as we walk into the community development summary. Thanks so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. We have had a pretty busy first quarter, not too far off of last year's. We were about maybe 2 building permits off of last year's. Seems to be going to be a busy year again. Hopefully keeps on going with all the rising costs of fuels and stuff. All our 24 and 25 files are up to date and stored in the reservoir. And we've finished sending out the letters for 22, 23 regarding outstanding building permits. So we're in pretty good shape right now.
Thank you, CBO, and to you, Planner EDO Mackenzie Baird.
Yeah, so for Q1 of this year, we've done 8 consent applications, 2 variances, 4 zoning amendments, and 9 zoning compliance reports. Dealt with quite a few inquiries. We're working on a couple key projects, some pre-consultation on a few projects possibly coming to the municipality, working on finalizing some subdivision agreements and supporting road improvements for a rural cluster lot. On the economic development side of things, we approved 2 tourism and event grants in Q1 of this year, and we have another CIP grant coming soon. But yeah, we're just ramping up for summer, which tends to be the extra busy season for us. So yeah, that's all from me at this point, unless anyone has any questions.
Great, thanks so much, Planner Baird. Just noting, I'll highlight 2 things. One is the transition of our Planner EDO. So we have been able to secure Mackenzie full-time and permanently with the Township of Whitewater Region, so a great addition as a result of a resignation from the previous employee. And also noting the return of our Communications and Economic Development Coordinator, Rebecca Gill, is expected to be returned by the end of May. So looking forward to that as well. And through you, the Mayor, for any questions.
Excellent. Any questions from council? Excellent. Great news. Looking forward to a very busy summer and all the progress we can make. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Yeah, thanks so much. And then we'll move it over to the Community Services Department. To you, Director Plevin. Thanks. Yeah, and you're welcome to stay in your spot to do your remarks. Thanks.
Sorry, thank you, everybody. Al was planning to attend this afternoon, but due to some personal, he's not here. So just by the numbers, the Cobden Arena, the hours of the rentals, as well as the ice for the hall was 195 hours, and the total for the arena, 711. So of that, 551 hours were prime. And we did do the number September to March, so it was a 79% prime ice usage for the arena in Cobden. We will be reaching out to the other 2 facilities to get their numbers. We don't have them at this time, so that's why they're not here. And in addition to that, the Whitewater seniors provided us with some of their statistics for their programs to be from the first quarter. And so those numbers are presented as well. We have been working through some of our capital projects in the arena, as well as the Foresters Falls Seniors Facility. Quotes are being obtained, and we're moving forward those projects. Some of the key activities in the arena itself were 4, actually. The majority of our hockey tournaments were done in the month of January and February. The regular classes which are using the facility continue, as well as some after-school programming. And just to note that the Boys and Girls Club program has been moved to downstairs in this facility, the township office, for the month of April. And then we held the Renfrew County Clerks and Treasurers meeting in March as well. We're moving forward with the grant for the Spring Community Recreation Grant, which was awarded on top of the 25th anniversary funding. And our summer students have been hired for the summer 2026. I did attend the Funders Forum in Renfrew, as well as the, and then moving into the seniors world, some of our transition has been completed with the Eganville and District seniors with staff, as well as our SALC grant application. We're awaiting our funding approval for that. We've also submitted a grant for the Rural Ontario Development Fund to move forward some seasonal streetscaping, and we're waiting on that fund to come back as well. I noted the letters of support that were listed for other grant opportunities with our partners, which would include us and our residents. And then looking forward into 2027, just so everybody's aware, Easter messes with our ice schedule next year. It's the last weekend in March, so we're working through that with staff to figure out if it's better to stay open a few more days later or close a few more days earlier. So we'll work through that and come forward with that in the near future. And then the Cobden Legion, as well as our Renfrew County advisors, have put together a grant workshop. We're inviting all of the Renfrew County Legions to our Cobden branch, and we're going to work through a grant presentation to support our local veterans across the county. So I believe you have all been invited as council to attend this. If you're interested, go ahead and confirm that. We're looking forward to that. It's on April 25th. And then the advertising for our summer camps will be out shortly, as well as our swim program. We did connect with the City of Pembroke, just so that is on track, and I'm working internally with staff to determine what that partnership is going to look like. I believe the City of Pembroke will allow our residents to register, and we will be looking forward to reimbursing them individually from our staff perspective, as opposed to them being billed at a lower rate initially. So we have to work that out internally, and when that's worked out, that'll be confirmed. But you can expect advertising to come out soon for both the swim and the summer camp programs. And then the delegated authority section, so we've gone ahead and awarded the compressor replacement to AC Mechanical. It was within budget, and the work will be completed by the 31st of July.
Any questions from council? Thank you. Yeah, Councillor Olmsted first, and the Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, just a comment and a question. I'm hearing more and more from our seniors in our community and how they appreciate all the activities that's been scheduled. So thanks for that. And then just a question, I guess two questions. One, what qualifies you for being a senior? Like, how old do I have to be? I probably qualify now, right?
Yeah, you're there now.
I'm already there. On a serious question, what is a sound bath?
Yes, please.
I will let Councillor White respond to what the sound bath is, because she probably has the best opportunity to answer, but a lot of the seniors organizations are 50 plus, so I won't ask you where you fit in that.
Thank you.
But we can go from there. Councillor White?
Sound bath is, I know I'm going to use the wrong terms, but they have this brass bowl and different sizes, and they have you know what you would place a xylophone, a little stick like that, and they run it around the rim, and they go inside or they bang it a little bit, and you're laying there with your eyes closed, and it's just so beautiful.
But where are you?
You're on a mat on the floor, or you're sitting in a chair, or whatever you're comfortable with doing, but it's just so relaxing. It's like sitting outside in the rain on a tin roof. Yeah, so, yeah, it's very appreciative, let me tell you.
So I am probably the only person that didn't understand what that was, right? Exactly. I don't think anybody knew what that was. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Deputy Mayor, did you have another question, or it was it? Good. Any other questions? No? Good, thank you for the report. Good, CAO.
Yeah, thanks so much, and I will pass it over to corporate services, whether that's the treasurer or deputy treasurer. Please go ahead. Thanks.
I'll pass it off to the Deputy Treasurer to do remarks, and I'll just follow up. Thank you.
Okay, so by the numbers for property taxation as of March 31st, the 2026 interim property tax bills were mailed out the first week of February, and the first installment was due February 27th. A number of properties are entering into the final stages of the tax sale process and will be advertised later in this year unless they're paid. We have approximately 30 properties right now within that process at various stages. There is 2,062,428 taxes receivable remaining outstanding right now. But I actually did compare that to last year's Q1. And the 2024 billing and interest was sitting at 657,000, and we're down to 359. And the 2023 and prior was sitting at 638, and we're currently at 328. So we have been working hard to try and get those numbers down, and you can see them there. For utility billing, as of March 31st, we have 89,000 of utilities receivable outstanding. If you look at the little chart above, that actually does show that is less than last year. The final utility billing for 2025 was due January 30th, and the first utility billing for 2026 was due March 31st. 149,000 of the 2025 outstanding utility balances were transferred beginning of March to the tax rolls. Again, if you go up to your chart on the far right, you'll see the graph, the UB to PT transfer. It was less this year than last year. For development charges, we have 6,000 for township-wide development charges, 0 for wastewater, and 1,000 for water services. The general fund overall showing a $2 million deficit. However, revenue from taxation is not recognized until final billing in August. Water budget overall showing a $22,000 deficit, but again, we've only billed out for one of our 6 billings for 2026. For work plan and strategic plan progress, we are still working to update that asset management plan to meet legislation requirements. And then working on our multi-year budget framework as well. And then some of our key activities in Q1, so the portal, the iCity portal for utility, accounts receivable, and property tax, we had 138 residents sign up. So that, it doesn't break it down for us, unfortunately, on what's property tax, what's utility, and some of these 138 would be property tax and utility and AR for some of them. So even though there's 138 residents, there's more than 138 accounts set up for online. The 2024 fiscal year end procedure and annual financial audit was completed. We are continuing to work with Dillon Consulting to update Township's asset management plan. And the grant reporting for OSIF and CCBF was completed. Looking ahead, we are hoping to complete that asset management plan, present that 2024 fiscal year end audit, and then complete our 2025 fiscal year end process for audit and financial reporting.
Thanks, Julie. And I don't really have any other comments. She's more or less summarized everything. So if there's any questions, please.
Perfect, thank you. Questions from council? No? I think I had one. 30 properties that are in process of, or going through the tax sale review process. Would you recognize, is there any of them that are second or third time through?
Yes, so we have 3 actually that were up a couple years ago. Remember when we did it? I think it was in 2021. So 3 of those are repetitive. And then for ones that are in this final stage, it's year after year that we're sending those notices. Is that kind of what you mean? Yes,
Mm-hmm.
so it is repetitive. It's those same ones each year, and we're making this big push now to get them through the process.
Yeah, and I'm recognizing, I remember the list of properties that went to tax sale probably last term of council, I can't remember. But there were some really odd properties, like really unique. And I wonder, in this tax sale process, are we considering other ways of approaching it? Like, I'm assuming someone picks it up for a song, realizes it's not usable, doesn't pay the taxes, and we just reinitiate the problem all over again. So I don't know if there's any reconsideration necessary for some of these repeat properties that just keep going up for sale. Somebody buys them, realizes they're not worth anything, doesn't pay them, and repeats the process.
So it's more of not of a new owner. It's more of the property was in the process of tax sale. The owners came in and paid it off before it actually went to the tax sale part. And then, so now we're back into the same situation with the same owners again. It's just they get past that process and then would wait out after. For the most part, whenever the properties sell, we have a good collection for the most part, I would say. Because normally what happens is the owners are, like you say, picking it up for a song. So then there's that affordability to renovate the property, either resell the property, which equals taxation for us, or any other, to bring it out of whatever state it's in. Or if it's a perfectly fine property, it's just not being paid the taxes on, it alerts the owner that they need to make that piece to us. Because as we noted in the financial statements report right before this, that accounts receivable is important to keep the cash flow for the municipality operating. It makes the reserves able to actually be used and not have to look at debentures or other short-term borrowing to cover that gap.
Good, no other questions? Oh, yes, Councillor Bell.
For I know you mentioned it, I might have missed it, but the 138 residents signing up for the online services, is that 138 total or 138 in Q1 of this year?
That's just in Q1. I don't know what it is today.
So do we know what but that's not the total number of residents that have signed up for the online portal, or that is as of right now?
No, that's only as of March 31st. I haven't checked since then to see if there's more since then. But there would be, because we're getting daily phone calls of new residents signing up.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I have signed up for it. It works really well. It's one of those things that I would promote to anybody that's literate on the computer to sign up for, especially if you have multiple taxable properties. It's a great way to get the summary for everything that's there, and you can follow along, make sure that you've paid your bills. So it is a really good service. Hopefully you get more and more signing up for that.
I will make one note, and Julia mentioned this already, is that it's 138 residents, but like you said, multiple properties can be signed up to the same resident person, so you could have multitudes. So it's hard to, when on our next run of bills, we might be able to more tell as to how many have actually set up as properties, because we'll be able to see the amount of bills that are turned electronically and sent out. But it cuts down on the 5,000 plus bills that we're doing, folding, postage, sending out. That's the cost that we're trying to eliminate or reduce, because that's in turn is a reduction of cost to the taxpayer, because they have to get their tax bill. If they can get electronically, one is a guaranteed delivery, that there's proof of delivery on that side, we're not doing anything else, plus a stamp now is $1.23, just so everybody's tracking. So 5,000 pieces of envelope, you know what the cost is right there to send out that mail.
And that's just taxes.
Yeah, that's just taxes.
Sorry, as soon as somebody's signed up for that online portal, their physical bill is no longer being delivered, then it's only through email notification and then through the online portal, that's correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
That's perfect, thank you, and that's, a huge increase in service in terms of increasing accessibility and transparency, and we're saving money by doing it. It's a good initiative, so good on staff. Good, no other questions? Oh, Deputy Mayor, please.
Thank you very much, Mayor. So I just want to double check here. So the billing for 2023 that is still outstanding, how do we get to the point where we catch up here again? Or what happens?
Yeah, so that's a good question.
4
So
years.
that's why we're doing the tax sale process. So let's say all 30 of those properties go to tax sale and all of them sell and we get the funds for all of them. You'll actually see the 2023 and the 2024 disappear.
Further.
Does that
And
make-
if we don't get those, then what's the next step?
If it's a property that's really worth value, we would just try and sell it again. Some properties, like what we're seeing right now for 2 of them, it's landlocked and nobody wants it. So I think the treasurer will probably speak more to that, but we would vest them, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so like what can happen is with tax sale, there's options, right? And one of those said options is to actually vest the property, the municipality itself, and then do it with it as it pleases. If it's a marketable property that we could, as the municipality could do, either change the use of it or try and sell it to another organization, like similar to what we've done with other properties, like with the county and other things. So that's one option. The other option is we can re-advertise, which is actually what's happening with 2 of these properties. The period went past, nobody tried to buy it, then we go back and we can re-advertise. And the third option to the municipality is to actually write off the taxes, or at least a portion of them, to make the value of the said property more capable or easily digested by somebody to buy the property. Because the minimum tender amount is the actual amount of taxes outstanding, plus the fees that we've been charged by the consultant to actually do the tax sale. That is our minimum tender amount. So some of these properties can be very, very tiny pieces of parcels that have been severed off because of road allowances or just how they became to be unknown, but they become a problem where just land transfer doesn't happen in between. But the value of that piece of property might get up to $10,000, $15,000, and it's a postage stamp. So in order to make it more palatable to somebody who may want that property, you would write off those taxes. So if once the tax sale process has gone through, a report will be brought to council saying what the results of that was.
Yep.
And then there'll be options for those properties brought at that time.
Great. Thank you. Thank you both. Thank you.
Excellent. No other questions? Thank you for the presentation. CAO.
Thanks so much. So moving forward, we're going to jump into the fire services, and I have the pleasure of presenting this to the members of council. So during the first quarter, there were 33 calls for service, divided amongst fires, motor vehicle collisions, extrication, and others. So 10 calls for motor vehicle collisions. There were 2 fire inspections that were completed by the fire prevention officer. Big issuance of burn permits for this year, which is really important, I would say. It's the members of our communities who are sort of not renewing, but getting a new burn permit for 2026. 339 burn permits. Unfortunately, I don't have the data to compare that to previous years, but in any case, seems high. Further to that, 2 firework permits, which is important because we did adopt a new policy around fireworks and the requirement to get permits, so it seems like it's being utilized. The department also participated in 3 public education opportunities. Moving into work plan, strategic plan progress, so just highlighting some procurements. One is the battery-powered extrication equipment, together with the training that occurred in February. That equipment's being held in the Haley Station, or Station 1. The new tanker that was purchased was delivered in January. It replaced that 1994 tanker in Beachburg. And they also had the push-in ceremony through Q1. Through our alternate CEMC, Jonathan McLaren, the fire chief, we held our emergency management tabletop scenario. It involved the OPP, MNRF, CACC, County Renfrew Paramedics, the PIOC. So pretty large collaboration, including township staff in March. So this annual prerequisite is now complete for the emergency management prerequisites, so that's important. Key activities, the 4th annual firefighter recognition ceremony was held to recognize the accomplishments of our fire department members. Together with that, there was, so highlighting that, and then maybe the last 2 things is flood readiness team did begin in March, so began in Q1 looking at the potential flooding, and then the delegated authority, so the oil furnace was replaced in Station 3 with a propane unit due to failing, so just recognizing that's within our procurement policy, our authority to procure. Any questions? I'll try to answer, otherwise I'll direct them back to our fire chief. Thanks so much.
Any questions from council? Councillor Trim.
Yes, it appears by this graph that most of the activity of the fire department has nothing to do with motor vehicle accidents or fires. It's other. Could you just give me an example of what the fire department is being called out to do in that other category?
And I mean, I would say that one thing might be to provide assistance to other emergency services. Might be one scenario where they'd be called out for another reason, but I would have to follow up with council with more details on other. And you'll allow me to do that? Yes?
Yes, please.
Thanks.
It can just be an email update. That doesn't need to be a report.
Absolutely. Thanks so
Councillor
much.
Trim, you're good with that, but just as an email explanation? An email explanation to your answer? Yes. And then as a result of that, you can bring it forward if you want to at council. Good.
Noted.
Any other? Yes, Councillor White.
I was
Going to ask that question too, so can we all get the email?
Oh,
or-
absolutely.
Thank you.
Sorry, we go without saying, everyone will get the email. If there's an issue in the email that you wish to address publicly, we just bring it back to council, and we can do it at that time. I'm seeing, oh, yes, one of our firefighters is here. CAO, is it okay if,
Yeah, certainly, for sure.
A lot of the calls that would also be like CO detectors going off, smoke alarms going off, lift assists, mutual aid. Those are the other kind of calls that we go to. Locked door, yeah.
So other burn complaints is another one noted, but, so I will try to get a summary of each of the calls perhaps, because other is very high number, so maybe we could just define it a bit more. Absolutely. Thanks.
thank you for the additional information. Back to our acting fire chief.
Yeah, excellent, thanks.
Any other questions? Good, we're gonna keep jumping along here. Next is Public Works CAO.
Yeah, go ahead to our Director of Public Works and/or to Superintendent Nicholson. Thanks so much.
Thank you. So we'll start with some by the numbers for the environmental stuff, specifically the landfill. The garbage collected curbside was down by about 3%, 311 tons. You can see that the last 3 years has been a trend of it going down. As far as the actual landfill itself, number of customers, we saw an 18% decrease. There was 788 tickets registered across the scales. It was a very cold winter, so we suspect that on those really frigid days, we tend to see a lot less people come down. For the next line that says waste delivered, which excludes the curbside, you'll see that it shows a pretty large number of a 43% decrease. The reason for that is that the centrifuge at the wastewater treatment plant has not really been functioning, so they have not been delivering very much sludge to the landfill. So that can often account for about as much as 100 tons per quarter, if not more. So that is probably the biggest reason to see that decrease. So that line shows everything that we've landfilled aside from curbside. That has come in. The last one was waste diverted, and that sort of makes sense that there would be a decrease. Just simply, we saw 18% less foot traffic coming through. So it's actually good that we saw not quite as big of a drop. So it means people are still recycling and bringing stuff to our scrap metal bin. I'm going to skip over some of the next stuff and get down to some of the work plans. As council is aware, our curbside collection with Miller Waste Services was extended for 1 more year, and that now is in its final extension year, and it runs until March 31st of 2027. And I'm going to skip down next to the next page on water main breaks. So I'm sure everybody's heard we did have a number of water main breaks in Q1. So we actually had 4. And what we've included here is just the totals for each of those breaks. As of the writing of the report, we didn't have the last the cost for the last break, which was on March 26th, which we did now receive in the amount of $10,397. So far, charges for these 4 water main breaks have come to about $59,000, almost $60,000. And of note, our budget line for that is normally about $7,000. So it's a rough start for that line to start at the beginning of the year. And we are expecting a repair on Main Street at Crawford here in the next coming weeks, so there'll be some more added to that, unfortunately, to two valves that are on Main Street. The next thing is we did receive a handful of reports from, Aqua provided us with our 2025 water system reports for Cobden, Haley's, and Beachburg, and that was presented back in early part of March to council, as well as our annual report for the wastewater treatment plant. Additionally, we received the 2025 annual monitoring report for the Ross landfill that was provided by JP2G, and I will be returning to council in the next month with a little bit of a discussion on that, as well as some other sort of waste-related things. And one other notable thing is that as of January 1st, the township is no longer responsible for the curbside collection of residential blue box material, but we did stand up our small ICI blue box collection program, which seems to be going well so far, which is great. And lastly, for the look ahead for environmental, as I mentioned, we'd be coming back with some waste-related stuff. I've been busily working away on a waste management bylaw, and we'll hopefully have that completed in the next little while. And I'll also likely cover the Ross landfill report that we received. That's everything for the environmental side. I'll pass it over to the director.
Yes, by the numbers, one thing to note, sorry, the winter events for Q1 year to year was down from 50 to 39. To note that the entire winter season from Q4 of 2025, including Q1, a total of 68 winter events, so there actually was more in total versus the previous winter season from 2024 Q4 to 2025 Q1 was only 64, so it was a busier winter. One thing to note, salt usage was up by 6%. There was a shortage of salts throughout Ontario. We worked with our county, which our contract is backed on with our supplier, and at times we were not able to get salt, but with working with the county and the supplier, we were delivered, so we actually didn't run out of salt this year. For the work plan, the county again joined the county's supply and service tender for catch basin cleaning, street sweeping, and roadside spraying. Government Road was awarded in Q1, and Road Super McLeese attended 3 courses on his way to get CRS certified, and various training was done by new staff. 2 new staff completed Book 7 training, and various staff completed Common Core training. To note, spring load restrictions were commenced on March 9th and will extend to May 31st unless weather changes, and we will be notified on the town website and Municipal 511. Our mechanic was busy between fixing winter fleet, but also had prepared all the spring grading for this year. To note, as you're aware, the entire road network of that consists of 320 lane kilometers. It is in poor condition from late last fall that we had weather events and the early freeze up, and then which has transpired to a quick from winter maintenance right to spring, and then with this week with all the rain events, we haven't been out yet. We've been out last week. The grader's been out, but with this rain this week, but hopefully next week with forecast favorable, 3 graders and 1 contracted grader will be out, completing about 12 to 16 lane kilometers per day. And just the delegate authority, we did subscribe to KSMI Weather Service, so to help the road superintendent to have local weather models done for Whitewater. This is together with the future weather stations that is in the 2026 budget. And looking ahead, is the waste management bylaw is coming hopefully in May, and also with the final presentation or the anticipated long anticipated transportation master plan is coming next meeting. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Director of Public Works and Superintendent of Environmental Services. Most Fulls. Any questions, members of council? Councillor Moore.
I know by what's written here, at least 3 have gone for courses. Is there more coming up this year?
There is more training coming, staff. We have 2 staff going to, one staff going to TJ Mahoney. I just completed, the online, and we have another one we'll be doing online or in person coming up.
And a second question, if I may. Are we going to divide our works crew into half, and are they each going to take part in the events in Petawawa in June?
Definitely planning on encouraging staff to attend the trade show. I think it's a opportunity to have it in our backyard. I think the last one, if I recall, was an arm prior. I want to say quite a long time ago, but so it's nice that I've encouraged to see all the vendors and different new technologies. So definitely we having staff attend.
Great, thank you.
Good. Any other questions? Yeah, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you very much. So we subscribe to the KSI weather service. So how do we monitor that, or how do we know in a year's time that we have had any benefit from that? And what, I'm just curious how it all works. It's the first time we've been doing this, am I correct?
That's correct. Yeah, so there is, I think, 3 municipalities in Renfrew County, and then, but I know like Lanark County uses them, and then there is different options. Staff did demo a few of them. The one advantage that to meet our minimum maintenance standards, that the road super gets an email and also there's an app for it that will check in the winter months. We'll check the provide weather monitoring, which will meet that, and then also it is like any other weather modeling or service that it's not always right, but I think having local data will help to forecast better results. But again, it's like any other weather service. He does check Environment Canada and other weather services also, just to compare. But we will look at it. The contract is a 1-year purchase, and we will monitor it going forward.
Thank you.
Good. Any other questions, Public Works? No, I just wanted to verify, one of the numbers you said was about 12 to 16 lane kilometers per day. Is that per grader?
That's per grader.
Per grader? Yeah, so with 3 graders, we can do, call it 40 to 45 kilometers a day, lane kilometers a day.
But probably yes.
Yeah. Good. Okay. No other questions? We'll move on. CAO.
Thanks so much. And with that, we will move to the office of the CAO. So, just noting.
Thank you, Councillor White. That's exactly what we should be doing. So I need a motion from the floor to extend the meeting. Councillor White, a seconder, Deputy Mayor. All in favor? Any opposed? 1? Carried.
All right, I'll keep plugging away.
Please carry on.
All right, the office of the CAO.
Just to, we are extending to 4:30, no longer than 4:30.
Noted. The office of the CAO, so a few things to highlight is the consolidation of this quarter, first quarter, or the 2025 fourth quarter administration report together with the 2026 departmental work plan. So one is closing out a year, the other one is preparing us for 2026. Further to that, just highlighting the preparation of 5 council meetings and 5 committee meetings. So it just becomes the day-to-day, but recognizing that there's a lot of effort that goes into preparation of these meetings. Biggest item that we're working through right now is the continued 2026 election preparation. So we're engaging with a few working groups. One is the electronic voting working group through Votes. The election prep group with LV, Pembroke, and Amherst and Bromley. We've completed some AMCTO election module training, and we've done some training as well with Elections Ontario portal. So we are moving into a nomination period, which commences May 1st. So we're just finalizing our nomination packages, which will be essentially readily available and as of next Monday. We're finalizing them now, and nomination period commences May 1st. Aside from that, just noting the attendance to the Roma conference, so the Rural Ontario Municipal Association Conference, and attending 11 delegation meetings, but together with the preparatory work to attend those delegation meetings, so pretty intensive work there. So that is it for the Office of the CAO. Maybe I'll just summarize council business. So council did see 34 reports from staff. There were presentations and public comments from 3 members in Q1. In the committee, that is the Budget Committee, together with the Committee of Adjustment, there was 11 reports, and we passed 21 bylaws in Q1. So any questions on the Office of CAO council business, I'll be glad to answer. Thanks so much.
Excellent, CAO. That is a long list, and I think it's valuable to have it listed here in one location for council reference, public reference. Good. With that, any questions for CAO on these 2 sections? Councillor Moore.
I'm looking at this now, and the question I have is for Public Works. So, sorry.
Good. Shoot it. Yeah, do it.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay, it says here there was a fair preparatory or meeting with Beachburg Agricultural Society. What was that?
So just noting what you're seeing is the footnote. It still says public work, but that is a question for the Office of the CAO.
Oh, good. There we go. Excellent.
For clarity. I moved
CAO.
the 2 departments and I didn't change the footnote to be corrected. So myself, together with the Director of Community Services, met with the Beachburg Ag Society, the AGCO, so Alcohol Gaming of Ontario representative, and the OPP. So we met with them with respect to the liquor license, together with just fair operations. So just planning ahead how the Fair Board might mitigate any impacts as a result of the liquor consumption and all that, the event. So just preparatory work, and we're involved in that as a result of us, I say council, we generally designate the event as significant under the AGCO. So therefore, they've looped us into this, and just to determine how we could support, better mitigate any issues or impacts. So that's why we're involved.
Okay, so then why is Cobden Fair not included in this then?
Well,
would that be coming in a different time, maybe?
We haven't been asked as a result of the Cobden Fair activities, but I mean, certainly we could reach out to them through our community director and see if there's a need for it. This was led generally, I would say, by the AGCO and OPP together with the Beachburg Ag Society. So that's the only answer I have.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Good. Any other questions? Excellent. I don't see any, so thank you, CAO. Again, I really appreciate these quarterly reports. It's the check-in back with council, includes the delegated authorities, everything in one document that can be referenced by council or members of the public. Good. We have to vote on the resolution, which, just to remind folks, it's just to receive this report. So I will call for the vote. All those in favor? Anybody opposed? No, it's carried. Notices of motion. Is there any notices from every member of council today? Good, I see none. Move on to correspondence. There's a number of things in correspondence. Only one item requiring direction, and that is the support for upgrading highways 11 and 17 as nation-building projects. Priority emphasis on Highway 17 within the county of Renfrew. There's a number of attachments, and I know council's had an opportunity to review them, but I'll ask the CAO just to provide a very cursory outline of what this resolution is in front of us.
Yeah, I think essentially what has come through the office here is a resolution that was passed at the County of Renfrew council table. And what they adopted, or what they've given direction to the warden to do, is issue a letter to Prime Minister Carney with respect to identifying our Highway 17 as a nation-building opportunity. So having seen this and recognizing that we are part of the county, I thought it would be wise that why don't we sort of issue a similar letter in support of our county's initiative. So the one thing I do want to highlight is that while our letter will be separate from the county's, we kind of align with a joint advocacy effort on Highway 17. So we cannot remove ourselves from a regional approach to Highway 17. I think it's important to recognize that if we're going to advocate for this very important asset and critical commuting framework, I think we need to advocate all together. So just recognizing that there is some plans to extend Highway 17 to Renfrew. We just want to make sure that we're advocating together with the county and our neighbors, all together as one voice through the county. But I think it's important to just highlight that we support the county in this letter. That's essentially it. Thanks.
Good, and with that, the staff have prepared a recommendation that I'll read now to see if I can get a mover and seconder. So the recommendation is that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region supports the upgrading of Highways 11 and 17 as a nation-building project with priority emphasis on Highway 17 in the County of Renfrew, and further directs that the attached letter, advocacy letter be issued. Is there a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Moore, seconded by Councillor Bell. Good, and discussion. Is there any questions or comments from members of council on what they see there? Good. It receives quite a bit of debate at county, and is in conjunction with, as you see in the title, Highways 11 and 17. So attaching, access not only through the county of Renfrew, but also include up and towards the north and the potential ring of fire. And this is a project that won't get accomplished without federal partnership. So if there's no questions, we will call for the vote. All those in favor? And it's unanimous. Thank you, Council.
Perfect, thanks.
Good. That moves us on to the next information items. And given the amount of time available to us at this time, I won't highlight, but you can see there are 4 reports and 6 letters, all listed on the agenda. You've had a chance to review them, but is there anyone who would like to make comment or question on any of those information items? Yes, Councillor Moore.
There was one of them I read, I don't know where it is. Maybe it's the resolution from the town of Arnprior, and that would be with supporting our staff. Were we to do something with that, or is that just for informational purposes?
Good. Please, CEO.
Yeah, so it was included in the agenda package, primarily because it is a municipality within Renfrew County who's distributed this. Now, we received these from many municipalities in and outside. It was included in the package because it is a Renfrew County municipality. Normally, these would be sent to council and determine if you want to add it on as a resolution or as a correspondence. But essentially, what they're trying to do is it appears as though they're having some significant civility issues as it pertains to their driver operators. Civility as in people are accosting them in the streets, right? So what they're trying to do is establish and introduce legislation by the province to recognize these workers as essential services, deter and penalize interference, threats and harassment, and provide clear direction and support. So if there's a member of council that would like to see us pass a similar resolution, what I would suggest is you could just work with myself and we could bring this back on a separate agenda as a Township of Whitewater Region resolution to support theirs.
I would like to see that pushed forward, yes, on behalf of our employees.
Certainly, so I'll work with you in the next few weeks to prepare something for the next agenda. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And at that time, it'll get put on the agenda and would need a mover and a seconder in order to be discussed. Perfect. Great approach. Thank you for raising that, Councillor Moore. Any other comments or questions or similar proposals for any other items on the correspondence? Excellent, I see none. Next is announcements, and I'll start with the Deputy Mayor, please.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I have one here, and it's pertaining here to our Mackenzie. The Township of Whitewater Region is pleased to announce that Mackenzie Baird, Mackenzie has been retained to fill the full-time permanent position of Planner and Economic Development Officer. Mackenzie holds a Bachelor of Commerce in Real Estate and Housing, as well as a Master of Science in Rural Planning and Development, both from the University of Guelph. He also brings valuable municipal experience, having more recently worked with the township over the past 9 months. During that time, Mackenzie has contributed to several key initiatives and has demonstrated a strong understanding of our community and its needs. Council looks forward to continuing to work with Mackenzie in this role and supporting you programming contributions to planning and economic development in Whitewater Region. So congratulations, Mackenzie, on behalf of all of Council, and thank you very much. Welcome. We're glad. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Excellent, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Bell, any announcements?
I had one, but I was looking here at the updated schedule, and you can no longer buy tickets, but there is a tea party hosted by the Historical Society, Grace United Church, along with the UCW on Saturday, April 18th at 1 o'clock. So if you got your tickets by the 11th, then you can participate in that.
That's good. Yeah. Thank you. Looking forward to supporting the Historical Society. Yes, good. Councillor White.
Yes, I have a couple here. Tomorrow, there is a Whitewater Seniors a Walk at the Muskrat River Boat Launch, which is at Highway 17 near Perriton Road at 1 o'clock. And a very important meeting is happening tomorrow night from 6 to 8 at the library in Cobden here. We had one, there was a meeting last night in Beachburg, and now there's one tonight or tomorrow. And the board is looking for input from the public as to what they feel our strategy, where we should be going in the future with our library. We're always looking for input, and this is a perfect time from 6 to 8 p.m. tomorrow night at the library, at the Cobden Library. On Saturday, the 18th, the WDRA is hosting a Let's Talk Fishing at the arena from 8:30 to 1. There will be speakers and tackle displays. And on May 3rd, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., there is cleanup at the fairgrounds. So anybody who was walking your dog, please show up. A cleanup, yes.
Councillor Olmsted.
Well, I can follow that up. Thanks in part to Councillor White. I have 3 special announcements. The first one is there's a trivia night, Friday, April 17th, 8 p.m. at the Cobden Legion. It's a fundraiser for the St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church in Cobden. There's special live music from Dale Uke, or with Dale Uke. Teams of 4 to 6 players. I do know that it was filling up very fast, so you may want to get a hold of them sooner than later. That's a licensed event, so you're going to have lots of fun. The second announcement is there's a fundraiser spaghetti dinner Thursday, April 23rd from 4:30 to 6:30. Proceeds towards the Big Give and Cobden School Healthy Snacks Program. It's a complete meal of spaghetti, sauce, bun, Caesar salad, etc. For a Goodwill donation. It's at the St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church on the highway in Cobden. Wheelchair accessible to upstairs tables. So that's 2. The third one is that there's a very successful business moving on to the playoffs. The Ottawa Senators have made the playoffs, which start this weekend, and I would expect all of Ontario to get behind Ontario's team this year, including any of you Leaf fans, to get behind them and support our local team. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Moore.
I just have one, and on the 25th of April, there'll be a pancake breakfast at the Beachburg Lions Club, 8 till 11:30, I believe, and that's the 25th of April. Thank you.
April 25th, you said.
Yes,
Okay.
April 25.
Good. And Councillor Trim? No points. Good. I know the CAO had some announcements he would like to give council and the
Yeah,
public.
certainly, and thanks so much. Recognizing that it is 18 minutes after 4 and we have 12 minutes left. So what I want to do highlight for the members of council together with the public watching is that we held our first recognition program awards with our staff yesterday. So there are 6 categories, and it would be common practice that we would award 6 recognition. However, due to the number of nominations, 24, together with the sort of first sort of inaugural ceremony, we awarded 12 awards. So I'll go through it relatively quick, but I do want to emphasize that this is very important to me and to the team. So the first category is excellence in accuracy and thoroughness. So it examines one of our core competencies of accuracy and thoroughness. So recognizing Sandra Moss for her exceptional accuracy and attention to detail in financial processing. The second one was Derek Bennett for acknowledging the accurate and thorough road grading work with consistent positive feedback from residents. So that's accuracy and thoroughness, Sandra Moss, Derek Bennett. Innovative problem solver, so problem solving is another core competency. Noting Bill Tripp, recognized for his proactive, solution-focused approach to problem solving. And then Steve Pekarski, commended for creative and technical problem solving that keeps equipment operational. So Pekarski is our mechanic, Bill Tripp is with our facilities and waste management. So problem solving. Third one is model of professionalism. So professionalism, another competency. Seth Ashworth, he's a fire department firefighter, commended for consistent professionalism in training, emergency response, and public engagement. And then Deanna Nicholson, recognized for ethical leadership, accountability, and professionalism. And this was primarily related to the Cobden Boil Water Advisory that occurred earlier in Q1. So we've accuracy, thoroughness, problem solving, professionalism, client services. So outstanding client services to Drew McLeese, acknowledged for a friendly, responsive, and resident-focused approach, and leaving a lasting impression on our community. So that's with our attending the parades and always responsive to residents. Secondly, Amber Kent, which is with our Parks and Rec. She's a recreation assistant, so recognized for consistent, professional, accurate, and helpful service when managing events, facilities, and daily operations. So then the last competency, which is the 5th competency, is teamwork. So recognizing Debbie Reddy for her outstanding teamwork, staff support, and contributions, always ready to come to the table when we have an event. And then Julie Parr, acknowledging for strong cross-departmental leadership. So in preparing the tax bills, she brought in numerous departments to help support issuing the tax bills in Q1. So those are 5 competencies. And lastly, living our values. So it's looking at our core competencies in our strategic plan, and then our values of commitment, pride, and, oh my, I've asked staff, integrity, thank you, because I was quizzing the staff yesterday about it. Integrity, commitment. So the first one is Grant McNulty, driver operator, commended for leading by example with positive attitude, professionalism, and a steady presence. So very, very positive employee. And then secondly, Riley Riviere, our 1-day-a-week employee, currently still in school, acknowledged for his dedication, respectfulness, and strong commitment. So when he's by himself in the department, he's answering 3 office phones. So he's running around making sure things are managed. So in consideration of times, I just want to thank all of our employees as a whole, together with the recipients for their awards. We will be doing some social media advertisement to recognize these employees as well. Our next award ceremony will be in the fall, so That'll be part of our all-day staff training. And nominations are open. They could be submitted by the residents, by the general public, could be submitted by council and as well as staff. So we do have it available on our website. It is a form, a PDF form. We're looking to sort of embed it in the website where you could actually type in your names directly in the website and submit it for nomination. So thanks so much.
Excellent. Thank you for that summary, CAO. Amazing to see a program go from zero to full implementation and recognizing something so important as our staff. So thank you for that, and I appreciate the increase in the accessibility for the community to be able to submit nominations via the website is a great initiative. Good. Any final announcements from anyone? Good. Okay, we're going to keep going. Item number 14, which is bylaws, and I just recognize here we have one on the agenda, and this was discussed as a part of a report at the last meeting. This is its final presentation to council. So the recommendation is be it resolved that the bylaws be listed on April 5th. The bylaws listed on the April 15th, 2026 agenda be taken as read and passed. A mover, please. The Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councillor Moore. Any final questions or comments on that bylaw? I see none. We'll call for the vote. All those in favor? And it's carried. There is no closed session today. We'll save that for next time. Item number 16 is a confirmatory bylaw. Recommendation is be it resolved that bylaw 2604-1831, a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council, be taken as read and passed. A mover and a seconder, Councillor White, seconded by Councillor Olmsted. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. We are adjourned at 4:24 p.m.